Let me explain. Alright. Tier list. This is a tier list based on Omake text. If you don't know what Omake text is, I don't really know either. It's like character profiles that I think exist in the manual that not a lot of people like really look at, I suppose. Hold on, chat. Quick question. How do you mute Steam? How do I tell Steam to stop showing me what people are playing? Is there a way to do that? How do I do that? I don't know how to do that. I need to do that. How do I do that? How do I mark my Steam as do not? You just close it? How do I just close it? Do I do this? Exit? Does that work? Oh, it's gone. I think I did it. Alright. I've succeeded. It's all text files. It has different things in the game that kind of do. It's a little bit of a paragraph on certain characters, and there's sometimes just randomly like deep lore, universal lore hidden within these character texts. So I'm gonna go through them, and once I go through them, I'm gonna kind of grade them on my own to see, like how are they? Like, do I think that these characters have some sick lore in there? Do I think these characters' texts are like have something like good lore to the character, good lore to the universe, no good lore at all, or maybe they don't even have Omake text or something like that. All right, so let's begin, shall we? So here's the screen. Here you go. Here's all the characters, and here's the music. That's a good start. All right, so I have my chat open. I think music's fine. It's a lot. It's gonna take a long time. Alright. So chat, can you hear me? Can you hear me over the music? This is important. I need to make sure the music is fine because I'm gonna be reading and it's important that you can hear me clearly through the music. So the first character we're starting with is Reimu. I'll turn it down a bit, hold on. There we go. Alright, so this tier list has every character on it. So you're gonna see a lot of characters. So let's start. The first one, of course, is sick character lore. Cool universe lore. Neat, I guess. And please, Zun, more characterization, please. And then the bottom one will be no make, as in they do not have Omake. Alright. There you go. There you go. There are my ratings. There are my ratings. We're gonna break them up between character lore, universe lore, neat, I guess. This character basically doesn't exist as far as that is concerned, and they don't have Omake. Oh, actually, you know what? Let me add another one. No. Let me. How do I add a new thing? Oh, there we go. Add a row above. Okay. Character lore and universe lore. Pog. Okay. So there you go. Alright, there you go. So we have 1 for 1, 1 for 2, and 1 for nothing much. So is everybody ready to begin? We're starting with PC98 Reimu. Alright. Here we go. So, I'm on the Touhou wiki if you want to check it out yourself. It's all the Touhou wiki for individual characters, and it's the stuff at the bottom of the page, the Omake text. So, I'm starting with PC98 Reimu, who is going to cover highly responsive to prayers to Seiho. So there's going to be 6 entries into this one. So here we go. Ready? Here's Reimu number 1. So you're not going to be able to see me reading these, but you know where to find them. Alright. I'm gonna open them all up now. Just for convenience sake. And then I'm gonna open chat back up so I can see chat. Okay. You know what's funny? All the games have official profiles. And then for Story Beast and Wonderland, it's just a little square of Reimu's face. That's it. Alright. Is neat meme material? No, neat is just kind of like... There's nothing really in there that's that amazing. But, like, there's still something in there that make you go, huh, neat, you know? So it's not quite as bad as no characterization, but it's not as good as, like, yo, that's sick, you know? Alright, let's begin. Highly responsive to prayers. Heroine. Reimu Hakude. Shrine Maiden of the Hakude Shrine. She has some spirit power by nature, but lacks training. Her weapon is the mighty yin-yang orb, but her control is somewhat unstable. But anyway, with her spirit power, she got quite some skills. Oh, Jesus. She got quite some skills? That's English. Her usual attacks, namely amulet attacks, spirit power discharging, her spirit strike, melee skills, are useless to current enemies. She's in some trouble. Currently, she's the only person in the shrine. Alright. Story of East and Wonderland. A shrine maiden of Hakude Shrine who possesses natural-born spiritual power but lacks training. She exterminates yokai by attacking with amulets, firing her spiritual power called Spiritual Attack, and releasing the power of Yin-Yang Orb. She's such an optimist that she doesn't worry at all even in this emergency, and believes she can solve all incidents with her power. This time, she, somehow, fights riding on a turtle. Not on a turtle, on the turtle. Okay. Alright. Alright, next one, Phantasmagoria. Shrine Maiden who protects dreams and tradition, Reimu Hakude. A Shrine Maiden of Hakude Shrine, who has a natural-born spiritual power and lacks training. She exterminates yokai by attacking with amulets, firing her spiritual power called Spiritual Attack, and releasing the power of Yin-Yang Orb. Stop me if you've heard this before. She's an optimist. She faces some strange incidents, but she still enjoys them. As usual, she somehow fights riding on the turtle. This time, she feels somewhat suspicious, yet she's excited about the incident. Next is Lotus Land Story. Shrine Maiden who protects dream and tradition. That's the same title. That's cheating. The Shrine Maiden of Hakude, who possesses natural-born spiritual power but lacks training. She exterminates yokai by attacking them with amulets, firing her spiritual power. Does anyone know what that's called? Oh, that's right. It's Spiritual Attack, and releasing the power of, what could it be? The Yin-Yang Orb. Did you know? Reimu is an optimist. She faced some strange incidents, but she still enjoys them. Due to her slightly emotional and simple character, she's always made fun of by Marisa. Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you, Tomoda, for the sub. Hold on, that was some lore. Marisa makes fun of her. Alright, next one. Mystic Square. Shrine Maiden. Alright, her role has downgraded from dream. She no longer protects dreams and tradition. A Shrine Maiden of Hakude, who possesses natural-born spiritual power. You think I'm reading the same Omake 5 times in a row, but I promise you these are all different. Natural-born spiritual power but lacks training. She exterminates yokai by attacking them with, guess what? Amulets. Firing her, guess what? Spiritual power in a, guess what? Spiritual attack, and releasing the power of the, what could it be? Yin-Yang Orb. Did you know that Reimu is an optimist? She faces some strange incidents, but she still enjoys them. Because of her slightly emotional and simple character, she is wait a minute, this is 1-to-1! Are you wait a minute. Zun literally copied the Omake from Lotus Land Story and put it into Mystic Square. It's exactly the same. It's, it's exactly the same. It is word for word the same. Except the only thing that's different is Reimu no longer protects dream and tradition, but everything else in the text is exactly the same. Oh my god, alright. Alright, and then we have Seiho, Shusho Gyoku. The Shrine Maiden of Hakude Shrine, talented but lacks training. Basically, she doesn't like to train. They say she has fought plenty of magicians, evil spirits, yokai, and even gods with her strong spiritual power for no particular reason. She's always involved in some strange affairs, though she seems to be dragged into most of them due to Marisa. Reimu pretends not to notice this. She sees Marisa as an essentially a hopeless case. Okay. What is Omake text? Alright. So Omake text is basically every game comes with a little. You know, you remember the old days of instruction manuals, where you'd open the instruction manual and you get a little blurb on characters who appear in the game. It's kind of like that. So the idea of the Omake text is Touhou games come with these little text boxes, like little paragraphs explaining characters who show up in the game in some way, shape, or form. And for whatever reason, there's like, sometimes there's actually like sick character lore and universe lore within them. But a lot of people forget about them or don't read them or don't even know about them. So I'm here today to basically read all of them to introduce people to the Omake stuff, but also make a little bit of content of it on the side because I am content creator. Okay, so there you go, chat. That is all of the texts for Reimu for PC98 Reimu. I miss the old days of manuals. So yeah, you may actually know some things from the Omake text. To spoil a little bit, the ribbon on Ruma's head is actually an Ofuda, and it is that is confirmed and mentioned in any way, like at all, in the Omake text. So there's some actually good stuff in here. So, but it's just not every character is treated equally. So, all right, chat. So that's all of the PC98 stuff, and given everything we've seen there, I'm gonna put PC98 Reimu in neat, I guess, because there's nothing wrong with the Omake text. It does exactly what it needs to do. It introduces Reimu, it introduces her attacks, and it gives one blurb of her personality. She's an optimist. That's it. That's fine. That's fine. Honestly, as far as PC98 goes, I think that's perfectly fine. Reimu is an optimist, she's lazy, and she fights with these powers, and she's friends with Marisa. I wouldn't call that sick character lore, but I would call it neat, you know? And she's got a turtle, right? Correct. Who, by the way, the turtle is just not mentioned anymore after Touhou 3. He's gone. But we're not done, because now we're on Windows era Reimu. So, Windows era Reimu goes from EOSD all the way down to Unconnected Marketeers. There's also text in here from Missing Power, Scarlet Weather Rhapsody, Bogetsu Show, Wildhorn Hermit. Oh, man. All right, so here we go. Time to open them all up. What is this? What the fuck is this? Gensokyo Millennium History. Oh, it's one of the bonus discs from, I think it's seasonal. Anyway, hold on. I'm opening them all up. You're gonna get a lot of Reimu right now. This is an insane amount of Reimu. It's coming, hold on. Hold on. This is gonna be the whole stream. It's just Reimu and Marisa. Alright, they are all open, and I am ready to begin with EOSD's manual. Okay. Everybody ready for yapping? Here we go. The Eternal Shrine Maiden, Reimu Hakude. Shrine Maiden of the Hakude Shrine, and protagonist of the Touhou series. She appears quite carefree on the outside, and indeed, deep down, she really is carefree. She lives in her shrine and is rarely visited by anyone, which causes her to be out of touch with current social norms. Even though she's only extinguished certain sparks of conflict because they seem to befall her without warning, her actions have generally resulted in preventing the residents of Gensokyo from visiting human settlements, and keeping outsiders away from wandering into Gensokyo. Charms and the yin-yang orb are her weapons. Additionally, she has the ability to fly into the air. So I'm actually going to stop it there for a second. What is this about? Her actions have generally resulted in preventing the residents of Gensokyo from visiting human settlements, and keeping outsiders away from wandering into Gensokyo. This is the first I'm hearing of this. What does that mean? Preventing the residents of Gensokyo from visiting human settlements. I don't understand what that means. Marisa's might be longer. Well, Marisa didn't appear in Touhou 1, remember? So she won't have an entry in Touhou 1. Marisa and Reimu have appeared in the same amount of games throughout the course of Touhou's history because Marisa doesn't show up in Touhou 1 and Reimu doesn't show up in Great Fairy Wars. And I don't count Gold Rush. The Hakude Berry didn't actually like exist until PCB. Oh. Well, that's interesting to note. The USD also has a strange placement of where the SDM even is. So, okay, so the Great Hakude Barrier is not really a thing until after EOSD. Okay, well, we keep going. So that was the manual, by the way. This is the Omake text coming up for Embodiment of Scarlet Devil. Eternal Shrine Maiden Reimu Hakude. Abilities: flying in the air, manipulating auras. The protagonist. Chronologically, this title isn't too far from the previous title, thus her age stays the same as before. There's nothing special about her being a Shrine Maiden, or rather, she's a Shrine Maiden she's a Shrine Maiden only because the Touhou series has become the Shrine Maiden shooting game series. It feels like the cart has been placed before the horse to me. This time, her outfit isn't overly intricate like typical Shrine Maiden clothing, but has become quite simple and only remotely resembles that of a Shrine Maiden. Is she really a Shrine Maiden? She's more like you, Red-White, in my opinion. So there you go. Chat. There is information from Zun himself. The reason Reimu is a Shrine Maiden is because of the PC98 games. The PC98 games built up Reimu as a Shrine Maiden. So when Reimu came back in the windows there, it was just, she had to be a Shrine Maiden. But her outfit, as you know, is not very Shrine Maiden at all. Like, she wears a Hakama in the PC98 era, which is proper. But then Reimu's Shrine Maiden outfit is barely a Shrine Maiden outfit. But we call it a Shrine Maiden outfit because Reimu is the Shrine Maiden. Alright. Next up, PCB Manual. The Wonderful Shrine Maiden of Paradise, Reimu Hakude. Hakude Shrine, Shrine Maiden, and the protagonist. Her mind might appear normal, but in fact it's like spring in full bloom. The shrine is always haunted by yokai, and they're very friendly to Reimu as well. She's hardly performing the role of a Shrine Maiden at this point. She hates training, and because of this, lacks ability, so her skills is quite so-so. She hates to do her very best at anything that falls upon her. That's because she doesn't believe that effort will be rewarded. Because of that, the Hakude Shrine's paper fortune doesn't have least luck. Typically, a shrine's paper fortune has best luck, medium luck, little luck, least luck, misfortune, and worst misfortune. It's usually interpreted as you'll get exactly as your effort. Least luck isn't usually interpreted as you'll get exactly as your effort. Okay, so that's I don't think I explained that very well, but basically her shrine doesn't carry one of the types of fortunes you can pull from paper fortune, and the interpretation of the reading is you'll get exactly as your effort. If you work, you lose. Okay. Charms in the Yin Yang Orb are her weapons. Additionally, she has the ability to fly in the air. She has a smaller hitbox, and her focus movement allows players to dodge very precisely. Spirit Sign's Hakude Amulet is quite easy to use. It allows you to focus on dodging bullets. On the other hand, Dream Sign's Extermination wields destructive power of the highest class. Bosses are killed quickly, but the invincibility duration of her bombs is the shortest of all characters. It's also lacking in both effective radius and damage. Alright. And then we get the Omake text. The Wonderful Shrine Maiden of Paradise, Reimu Hakude. She possesses the ability to mainly fly in the air. Basically, she's a Shrine Maiden, the Shrine Maiden of Hakude Shrine, which is located on the boundary of Gensokyo. The Hakude Shrine exists in both Gensokyo and the world of humans at the same time. The boundary is the home territory of the Hakude Shrine. From both sides, it's located at a very remote place from human villages, and is also kind of small, and has no known history or benefits, so it's no wonder that it rarely gets any visitors. Inside the shrine, almost all foreign boundaries have been nullified. That alone should say that the Hakude boundary, the boundary between Gensokyo and the world of humans, is amazingly powerful. Only those of the Hakude have rules to follow in Gensokyo. Therefore, Reimu always wears clothes that's apparently some kind of uniform. She's supposed to have many other rules too, though. Her daily routine consists of wearing red-white, staring at Gensokyo's sky from the edge of Gensokyo, and drinking tea. By nature, Reimu can use various mysterious powers, but she doesn't use them or boast about them. Everything is, as is, after all. Okay. So there you go. So in the PCB Omake text, this is one of the first instances, if not the first instances, of an explanation to the Hakude boundary, the great Hakude barrier. Which, by the way, since this is Yukari's game, it kind of makes sense. If Yukari existed in EOSD, it would make more sense, but the yokai of boundaries, Yukari, didn't show up until PCB. So this is explaining how the Hakude Shrine exists in both the human world and Gensokyo at the same time, but due to the nature of the boundary, like, they're also separate, kind of deal. So that's why if you've played Touhou Puppet Dance Performance, the game starts at the Hakude Shrine, and you go there, and it's an old dilapidated shrine, but then you slip past the boundary, and suddenly your character is in Gensokyo at the Hakude Shrine, and it's lively. So the Hakude Shrine is the main connection to the outside world in a strange way. Either way, that's actually very good lore. Like, that is genuinely good lore right there, but a lot of people already know that. The thing is, they might not know that it comes from the PCB Omake text, you know? Like, that's big lore. That's big universe lore. That's interesting to someone like me. And I knew this already, but I don't remember where I learned it, and I can promise you it wasn't from the Omake text. Oh god, this song. It's fucking 8 minutes long. No, I'll let it play for a little bit. Okay. Alright. And then we have Immaterial Missing Powers Omake text. The wonderful shrine made in paradise, Reimu Hakude. Species, human. Location, Hakude Shrine. Ability, flying in the air. A typical shrine maiden from Hakude Shrine, she always lives on ideas off the top of her head and doesn't consider something seriously. The only thing she does that actually resembles a shrine maiden's duties is enjoying tea and life on the veranda. She's quite simple-minded, thus when she's angry, she's angry. And when she smiles, she smiles. Her open personality makes her well-liked by both humans and yokai. Due to that, many people stay close to the shrine. You hear that? You hear that? She's very simple-minded. There's nothing to read into her emotions. She wears her heart on her sleeve to an extent there. I like that. When she's angry, and when she smiles, she smiles. That's adorable. She lacks training in both melee and spells, or rather she rarely does them, but she covers that up with the numerous talents she's born with. Yep. So she's quite tough, enough to make you wonder if she's really a human. While she warps or uses guided shots, it's all straight from her perspective. What a mean shrine maiden. Okay. I'm gonna be reading a lot of these. So yeah, I'm glad to do this because there will be some characters later on that'll be interesting for some people for sure. But right now we're currently 30 minutes into fucking Reimu alone. So, you know. All right, next one. Imperishable Night. This is the manual. The wonderful shrine maiden of paradise, Reimu Hakude. Hakude Shrine's shrine maiden. A human that lives on the boundary, she has the ability to fly in the air. She's the shrine maiden of the Hakude Shrine, which is located at the edge of Gensokyo, and possibly has ancient and honorable origins. At the edge of Gensokyo. Oh, hold on. So the Hakude Shrine is located at the edge of Gensokyo. Huh. So that means at one of the farthest ends of Gensokyo is where the shrine is. I usually put it to the south. I don't know about you, chat, but whenever I see maps of Gensokyo, Hakude Shrine is usually like, it's usually around a border point, but I tend to put it to the south for some reason, but I'm not even sure why. To the east? East makes sense as well. I associate west with Muenzuka and Higan and all that, personally. So that's, like, I associate the west to that. So south or east works for Hakude Shrine. It's hard to make a map of Gensokyo, you know? It's really hard. Oh, man. Yep, I think Puppet Dance Performance actually just have a very good map. It's a good one to follow. So east and south are good, but east is probably the more prominent one. So I can agree to that. I can agree to the shrine being... Well, I mean, the sun rises over the Torii, right? So it must be to the east. It must be, right? And the Hakude... the Moria Shrine... The Moria Shrine's on top of the Yokai Mountain. Which the Moria... Or the Yokai Mountain is to the west of Gensokyo in its entirety. Where was I? Yes. Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to get sidetracked there. She's emotional and noisy and has a presence wherever she is, but she merges into her surroundings quite easily. Her ability is being able to fly, that is, being weightless. So you know what's interesting about these is Reimu's ability is flight. Like, that's her special ability, but as we know, every character who shows up in a Touhou game is capable of flying. The only exception I can think of is Rikako, because Rikako uses a jetpack, so that's fake flying. But Chiuri and Yumemi, I don't remember if they do. They might use science or some shit. But Reimu's ability in Windows era is the ability to fly. But like everyone can do that. So kind of a special ability is that. Well, I guess Reimu couldn't fly with a turtle either. So PC-98 doesn't really count in that regard. Let's see, where am I? The gravity of Earth, any level of stress, and threats of power all mean nothing to her. Both her mind and body float in the sky of fantasy, a mysterious shrine maiden. However powerful the opponent is, that means nothing in her presence. As she evens out whatever status one has, she tends to attract anyone regardless of species, human or yokai. Her weapons are amulets and a yin-yang orb. She is also preferred by mosquitoes. Okay. Notes, she teams with Yukari this time. Focus speed only applies when she uses the solo character. She lacks a bit of damage, but is quite easy to use and doesn't need much memorization. She's quite strong, especially against smaller enemies. In a word, dastardly. Okay, so Reimu was popular with mosquitoes. This is good lore. Write that down, write that down. And then we have Imperishable Night, which, by the way, there are 2 entries in here for the Omake text that I don't know why. So I'm going to read them both, because they're different. So the first one, wonderful shrine made out of paradise, Reimu Hakude. Species human, ability mainly flying in the air. The all too familiar shrine made of the Hakude Shrine, located on the border of Gensokyo. The Hakude Shrine itself exists simultaneously in both Gensokyo and the outside world. She treats everyone fairly and equally, which makes her well liked by even the feared beings such as yokai. On the flip side, she doesn't see anyone as a comrade. Since there are a great number of humans and yokai around here, there are instances where she works together with them. But even so, she usually does things by herself alone. She might just truly be a cold-hearted kind of human. Damn. Alright. Alright, sure. So this is her Crimson Slasher arc, huh? Where she trusts no one, and she's cold-hearted? I don't know about that. That kind of goes against everything I've ever thought about Reimu. Her and Marisa are definitely friends. Doesn't see anyone as a comrade. I just don't buy that. Anyway, there's another Omake text here for some reason. So, wonderful shrine maiden of paradise, Reimu Hakude, species human, ability to fly in the air, the all too familiar shrine maiden. The morning that she was expecting to see after a full night's sleep didn't greet her. She thought that something very strange was going on, so she left the shrine to investigate. It's not unusual for her to go out at night, but going out at midnight just after having taken a full night's rest was most unusual. Anyway, nights always make her sleepy, so she'll be going back to bed once the issue is resolved. She followed a trail of power into a bamboo forest, and what she found were very familiar faces. Interesting. So I guess that's the lead-in to the events of Imperishable Night, where she meets up with Yukari, who has Ron with her. I'm assuming that's what it is. Unsure though. All right. Next, Phantasmagoria Flower View. The wonderful shrine maiden of paradise. You know the drill. The shrine maiden of Hakude Shrine, a human living at the boundary. She possesses the ability to fly in the air. I just remembered I was going to let this play for a little bit, and it's been 7 minutes. Why did nobody stop me? Why did nobody stop me? I think that's for her boss appearance. Oh. That makes sense, actually. I can't tell the details, though. Alright. Alright, where was I? Ultimately, shrine maiden located at the border of Gensokyo. The Hakude Shrine itself exists simultaneously in both Gensokyo and the outside world. She's always been able to bring incidents to closure with her intuitions, but she hasn't the slightest idea of the cause of this flower incident. In multiplayer games such as this installment of the Touhou series, it's hard to pinpoint which character is the main character. However, even though Reimu doesn't stand out at all, why does she always look like one? Well, she's had so many games, right? She's had so many games. I just ended up drowning. You can't say it's just a good song and then have the no audio on badge. What the fuck? What? You can't do that. I don't understand the point of those badges. You can lie with those. Like right there, you're lying to me. You can put no audio and then talk about how good the song is. That's bullshit. You're lying. Streamer, I can't see stream. I just don't understand what the point of that one is, you know? But you so easily lie about it. Alright, next is Shrine Maiden of Paradise. So it just occurs to me, chat, that the entirety of this stream, you're just looking at, Reimu studying in the neat, I guess, section. So, let me spice it up a little bit for you, I suppose. Let me see. There you go. Okay. Oh, come on now. Okay. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Alright. Okay. There we go. Okay! Where am I? Mountain of Faith Manual. The Shrine Maiden of Paradise. Reimu Hakude. The all too familiar Shrine Maiden of the Hakude Shrine. She treats everyone basically the same way, however, since her job is hunting yokai, she takes a fairly strict stance against yokai. But she's actually equally uninterested in humans and yokai. This time, there's a conspiracy surrounding her gods. She may be their spokesperson, but her circumstances as a yokai hunter are different, so she feels a bit lost. Her weapons are amulets and yin-yang balls. Her piety seems light. Her fighting style generally relies on equipment that lends a sense of stability. Alright, that wasn't too big. Now here's a really short one. Scarlet Weather Rhapsody. Shrine Maiden of Paradise, Reimu Hakude. Race, human. Occupation, Shrine Maiden. Place of residence, Hakude Shrine. Ability, flying in the air. Personality, carefree and sentimental. Not too attached to the world of the living. Wait, wouldn't that imply sentimentality? How can you be carefree and sentimental at the same time? Doesn't sentimental imply, like, you know, like, caring? Or am I crazy? I'm gonna Google this. Sentimental. Prompted by feelings of tenderness, sadness, and nostalgia. Yeah, doesn't that kind of go against carefree? It's not like a polar opposite, I suppose. But that seems like a contradiction to a certain extent. Huh. Alright. I guess it depends on the sentiment, I suppose. Yeah, I guess you're right. I'm not really sure, though. Well. Next up, Subterranean Animism. Shrine Maiden of Paradise. Reimu Hakude. Human. Fly air. The all too familiar Shrine Maiden of the Hakude Shrine. She treats everyone the same, however, since her job is yokai hunting, she acts particularly strict with yokai, but she doesn't really care much about humans or yokai. She is easily well liked by yokais, especially the strong ones. That was the manual, by the way. This is Subterranean's Omake text. Shrine Maiden of Paradise, Reimu Hakude. Species human, ability fly in the air. The all too familiar Shrine Maiden of the Hakude Shrine. She treats everyone the same, however, since her job is yokai hunting, she acts particularly strict with yokai, but she doesn't really care much about humans or yokai. She prefers high places compared to the underground. That last sentence is the only difference between those two texts. So, the next one is for a Bogetsu show, but it's actually not translated. Wow. So, chat, all of Reimu's Omakes have been translated, but whoever did all these translations does not give a single shit about SSIB. Because Reimu is just sitting here untranslated. And I bet nobody knew that. I bet nobody knew that. I'm gonna put it in Google Translate. I'm gonna see what comes up. Here we go. Google Translate. Alright. Reimu Hakude, a human ability to fly mainly in the sky. A Shrine Maiden of Hakude Shrine on the border between Gensokyo and the outside world. Humans and yokai are more equal than humans. Oh, is that so? Thanks to their equal contact with each other, there is a feeling of being nostalgic for yokai. It is a daily routine to drink tea while gazing at the sky leisurely, but the Shrine Maiden, the ability as a person is high, and the intuition is very sharp. Immediately change, detect, and resolve. You know what? That wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. So the general idea of that was that I guess imply the nature of human and yokai relations, and also Reimu's abilities, what her job is, what she does during her job, and how her intuition is quite sharp. So it makes enough sense to me. It makes enough sense. But yeah, it wasn't anything spectacular. Next is UFO. Shrine Maiden of Paradise, Reimu Hakude, species human, the all too familiar Shrine Maiden of the Hakude Shrine. She treats everyone the same, however, since her job is yokai hunting, she acts particularly strict. I'm starting to notice a pattern here. Where there's a treasure ship, there has to be the 7 gods of luck. She figures that where any gods are involved, it's a job for her, but most of the 7 gods of luck aren't Japanese gods. Her true goal is the treasure. Okay. Then we got Wildhorn Hermit. Reimu Hakude, the freewheeling human, the familiar Shrine Maiden of the Hakude Shrine. She appears pondering, like every other day, of how to get more visitors of her shrine. It's not that she's a clump of greed, but that she's only acting natural. She doesn't differentiate between humans and yokai. I mean, yeah, I guess. Next is 10 Desires. Shrine Maiden of Paradise, Reimu Hakude, human, fly in the air, the all too familiar Shrine Maiden of the Hakude Shrine. She treats everyone the same, however, since her job is... Do I need to read this part anymore, chat? From this point forward, I'm going to skip everything that is Control-C, Control-V, okay? She goes off to investigate after being alerted by the odd divine spirits that seemed far too shabby and numerous that they should. It'd be troublesome if she just left them alone and something happened, in which event, her shrine would be blamed. Alright, so that's why Reimu's acting in 10 Desires, because she's afraid of taking blame. Next, Lord of Vermilion, card text, data, occupation, Miss Shrine Maiden, birthplace, Gensokyo, residence, Hakude Shrine, ability, the ability to float. Now, this is crazy to me, because every single Omake to this point has said that Reimu's ability is to fly, and then Lord of Vermilion, whatever that is, her ability is now to float. How the fuck could you get that wrong when her ability is listed in every Omake? Float? Come on. Hobby, feasts, recent dream, the annihilation of yokai. Who wrote this? Huh? Who wrote this? Flavor text. It was there within the mountain distance away from the human village in the far-off country in the east Gensokyo. It has been a while since it was separated from the outside world by the barrier which the yokai made. Things that were forgotten from this world, things that were no longer needed, have been gathering around at the place. Due to such nature, Gensokyo should have become a paradise for the yokai. Reimu Hakude is, too, one of the people residing in Gensokyo who makes her living by exterminating yokai. Huh? What's this, an interview? Do I have to say something? I mean, who are you anyway? Okay, I have no idea what Lords of Vermilion is. But, alright. No, I don't know what Lords of Vermilion is. That might not even be Zun's writing. I don't know. Alright, next. Hopeless Masquerade. The advocate of the myriad gods, Reimu Hakude. The normally calm humans and always energetic yokai are both in a state of excitement. Their blood is boiling for one reason. From here on, the Shrine Maiden and her rivals will be battling it out. Emerge victorious in this battle and acquire unwavering popularity. Special skill, Law of Universal Spirit Power. Reimu's spirit gauge is longer than the other characters, so her maximum spirit power is increased. She can use more ranged attacks and special attacks. And even if she loses some spirit power while guarding attacks, she'll still have more in supply. Last word, fantasy nature. Reimu adopts a stance and by taking an enemy melee attack, she creates an opening. Her last word is a counter. And then surrounds the enemy with massive amounts of Ofuda and annihilates them in a most powerful attack. If it's a point-blank range, guarding against it is impossible. So it is easy to wear down and flatten opponents fearful of the counter. Well, obviously you can't guard against it, it's a counter. What kind of idiot has ever programmed a counter to be guardable? What the fuck is the point of it being a counter move then? Lord of Vermilion is online trading dual card arcade game developed by Think Garage, distributed by Square Enix. Why is Reimu in that game? The fuck? Okay. Interesting. Alright. That's neat, I guess, but what? Ability to float. Next, double dealing character. Her weapon's called a purification rod, but its formal name is the Onusa, double O. Unusa. It chases enemies on its own to purify them, but since its homing speed is somewhat bad, she has more success carrying it up to the enemies and then throwing it. Somehow, it doesn't seem to be very satisfactory as a purification rod. Next, Urban Legend in Limbo. Arcane, Shrine Maiden of Barriers. Reimu Hakude, Occult Gap Woman. The all-too-familiar, wonderful Shrine Maiden against Sokyo. A well-balanced standard character who fights with both projectiles and physical attacks. Recommended to beginners who want to learn of the duels of this world. Her occult attack is the Gap of the Great Hakude Barrier. It's a projectile-type attack that opens a gap in midair, where from wreckage flies towards the opponent. Since Reimu herself moves independently from the gap, she can also attack simultaneously. Oh. Next is Lol K. The Lunar Emissaries have at last arrived for real. Their goals are unknown, but as she's fighting entirely away from home, it's obvious that this will be her first truly difficult battle for her in a long while. This time, she's forced to fight a battle with no room for error. Well, depends on what mode you're playing. Next is Jun's game. Freewheeling and haphazard Shrine Maiden. The one's body and mind both switch places. That's what we're calling perfect possession. The red and white Shrine Maiden of the Hakude Shrine. She sets out a certain hermit to investigate the perfect possession incident, but quickly realizes that the incident can't be dealt with via usual means. In battle, she's a balanced fighter armed with both Danmaku and melee moves of various speeds. Hidden Star in 4 Seasons. Carefree Shrine Maiden in the spring sun. Frankly, the cherry blossoms blooming at the shrine don't bother her, and there have been plenty of strange weather before, so she doesn't think of it as an issue. That conceit leads her to severely misjudge the true nature of this incident. Yeah, I remember this. I'm pretty sure this is in Wildhorn Hermit. But the events of 16 starting are shown off in that manga, and Reimu doesn't want to act because her shrine is directly benefiting from a nice spring. And then Marisa yells at her. Marisa gets angry at her and yells at her. Next is Wily Beast, Weakest Creature. Wonderful Shrine Maiden of Paradise, Reimu Hakude. Species human, you know. Beast spirits have begun to invade from hell en masse. A beast spirit that was cooperative with humans told her that it lent her its power, so she decided to go to hell. She wasn't completely convinced by what the spirit had told her, but she would be more powerful than if she went to hell by herself, and she could just always defeat the beast spirit itself if things came to that. So she decided that it didn't pose any disadvantage to her. Okay. So that right there explains why Reimu is, like, taken in by the Beast Spirit. Because the events of 17, all the main characters are led by a Beast Spirit for one reason or another. And they're possessed by them. But I guess in Reimu's case, she thought she'd be able to handle that situation at a turn to that, but she didn't. So there's that. Next, Unconnected Marketeers. Wonderful Shrine Maiden of Paradise. Yep. Mysterious cards were circulating in the streets. She sensed that the secrets of humans and yokai were hidden within the cards, and she felt she had no choice but to investigate. For starters, her plan was to search around wherever she could find those selling cards and seize them en masse. And there's one more, chat. One more. So this is Zun's comment from the Dai Touhou plaque. I don't know what Dai Touhou is, but these are comments from Zun, so these are legit. Our infamous protagonist. She appears throughout most of the series. In the 6th title of the series, EOSD, I changed Reimu's design a lot, and she became quite different compared to Reimu in previous titles. You can say she's Reimu reintroduced. She's supposed to be a powerhouse, yet she's unreliable here and there. She's supposed to be a yokai exterminator, yet she's more liked by yokai than humans in comparison. With those traits, she shows her charm through such frivolity. If Reimu were the conventional type of protagonist who's dead serious about justice while having tons of companions, we'd be talking about a completely different story that is nothing like Touhou. And there you go. That is all of the Reimu Omake. And now the question remains, where do we put her? Where does Reimu go? In the sick character lore? The cool universe lore? The character lore and universe lore? So, Mosquito lore is good. So, I definitely want to put her in the cool universe lore because of the explanation behind the way the Hakude Shrine works. The question is, though, how much of this was really about... Like, Reimu's personality and everything about her is explained in these. So, I'm actually going to put her in the top one. I'm going to put her in the top one. Because one of the biggest aspects... Oh, thank you, Miguel, for the resub. I didn't see that. One of the biggest aspects of the universe lore, like of all Touhou, is explained in these Omake texts, with how the border works and how the Hakude Shrine is the connector to our world and Gensokyo. But also, through all the Omake texts, like, the fact that there's not very much left to write about Reimu's character is impressive, right? Reimu's personality and her how she feels about things, it's all laid out in these in this Omake text. The only thing about the Omake text is you can't see these in motion. Whereas like in Wildhorn Hermit, you can. You can see all these aspects to her character in motion, but in Omake text, you can only get a brief explanation as to how they really are. And since Reimu has so many fucking texts that let you, like, you know, basically read the same thing over and over again, it stands the reason that after a while, it's hard to put new things about Reimu in the games, right? So Reimu's personality is pretty understood. She's, you know, she's carefree, she's simple-minded, she's not the most friendly, I suppose. She's very indifferent to others. She treats humans and yokai equally, but she's stricter with yokai. But she wears her heart on her sleeve. Again, she's simple-minded. She's lazy. She doesn't try very hard. Like, there are a lot of aspects to Reimu's character that are mentioned in here that if you, without reading these and having experienced Touhou, you would be able to be like, yeah, I see that. Yeah, I understand. I understand that. So, I would put Reimu all the way at the top, which makes sense. She's the main character, right? And I personally think that the fact that, like, with a series as diverse in characters as Touhou, having a character, your main character, still stand on the top of the food chain is very impressive. It's hard to make an interesting main character when you have so many other characters show up to fill so many different roles. But Reimu, I think Reimu stands very high up there. Alright, it's been 1 hour and we've done 2 characters. Okay, it's actually been 47 minutes. But next is Marisa. Next is Marisa. Oh my god. Okay. Marisa Kirisame. Scroll all the way to the bottom. Here we go. Let's look at that page of Omake texts. What do we got? Additional information? Oh, baby. Interestingly, there's no Omake text from Story of Eastern Wonderland for Marisa. However, there's one for everything else, so I'm going to expand everything. Oh, I just realized Reimu is now an egg. That's fine. It's not too bad. Expand, 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 expand. Nice, 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 nice. Alright. Is everybody ready? Here we go. It's time to read about Daze. Starting with Phantasmagoria of Dim Dream. A being made of magic and red dream. Marisa Kirisame. The unstoppable magician that longs for Mima and calls her Mima-sama. Which part of her is unstoppable? Don't ask. She's quite an ordinary human girl who can just control some devastating magic. As is the nature of a magician, she's very intelligent, but does not act cynically nor set off a cobalt bomb while shouting, "You insolent human." What the fuck? Chat, what is that reference? What? What is that reference? A cobalt bomb while shouting, "You insolent human." Oh man. This time she's interested in the magic power flowing out of the fantastic ruins. This is new information to me. Yeah, she's very intelligent but does not act cynically nor set off a cobalt bomb while shouting, "You insolent human." Let me search that up. Cobalt bomb, you insolent human. Does that like hit results? A cobalt bomb is a type of salted bomb, a nuclear weapon designed to produce enhanced amounts of radioactive fallout, including oh. What the fuck? Zun, what the fuck? Alright. Good lore. So Marisa is not the type of magician to set off a nuclear bomb. This is very good, important lore. I understand a lot about Marisa's character. This is PC98 Marisa, by the way, not the Windows one. They're different. Okay. She's got an ICBM. Lotus Land story. A being made of magic and red dream. Marisa Kirisame. She's an ordinary girl, even though she's a magician. Her personality is somewhat self-confident. Okay, hold on. There's a period between magician and her, so those two things. Okay. Her personality is somewhat self-confident, but she has enough power to support her confidence too. She's very intelligent and is looking for power, but is still a child. What she does in her daily life is unknown. She looks even younger than Reimu, but their ages are very close. I think they both are a bit off from average. What does that mean? A bit off from average? Average what? What does that mean? Well, Mystic Square. An ordinary girl, even though she's a magician, her personality is somewhat self-confident, as the power is for her confidence too. She's very intelligent, looking for power, still a child, a daily unknown. In fact, she's a hard worker. That's new lore. Apparently, she has different standards of behavior from Reimu. What does that even mean? Huh. And then Seiho. A magical girl living in the East. She's a girl who's attached to power, confident enough to like showing off her power, and is always looking for someone to fight with or someone to mock. And someone to mock. However, the truth is she's a hard worker and her power is a result of her secret training. Because of this, she often gets jealous of Reimu, who never trains but still exceeds Marisa with her talent alone, and always tries to get in Reimu's way. Surprisingly, Marisa is very attached to Reimu at the same time, so much that she'd die of boredom without her. There's a lot of parallels to PC98 Marisa to Windows Marisa, huh? So, I'm actually going to put that one in character lore. Now, here's why. Now, here's the thing. Reimu's lore for PC98 is just, she's a Shrine Maiden, she uses attacks with these, she's an optimist. But here, Marisa is explained to be, she's a powerful magician, but the result of her skill, even though she's an ordinary human, is that of her hard work behind the scenes. And she feels jealousy towards Reimu for Reimu's natural, like, talents, her natural-born talents. So I actually think that that's a surprising amount of characterization for a PC98 character. It's, as I said, there's similarities to Windows Marisa for sure, which we'll get into in a second. All right, ready, set. Embodiment of Scarlet Devil, the strange magician, Marisa Kirisame, a girl who lives in isolation from other people, as is the fate of a magician. Basically, her wits are sharp, but she generally does not make the best use of them in her daily life. As a being whom humans are going to forget about, she is not going to interfere with them willingly. She's content doing the things she likes. That's kind of depressing. Above all else, Reimu is her favorite plaything. What? So she often goes to hang out with her. Her weapons are magic. They make everything in life play. The fuck is plaything? What? The word here used is daikobutsu. It literally means favorite thing, but the word usually refers to a favorite food or an actual object. When used in the context of a person, it gives the implication of seeing the other person like an object, like a toy. With the context of her being contrarian and a bad person in the text, the meaning likely comes from Marisa seeing Reimu as a plaything, though it's still a bit ambiguous. Okay, well that's interesting. So it's a weird word choice, but there you go. Plaything. Alright, next is the Omake text. The strange magician Marisa Kirisame ability is the manipulation of magic. This girl is also one of the protagonists. These two, Marisa and Reimu, are the heroines of the Touhou series. Marisa has a very contrarian, uncooperative personality, and she really is a pretty bad person. Although she's human, she remains distant from other humans. It's questionable as to whether she really is human, but she is. This time, she's wearing something resembling an apron, so it's hard to tell if she's a magician or not. She's wearing something similar to an apron. I can't believe Zun just called Marisa a bad person. Oh my god. Next, Perfect Cherry Blossom Manual. The ordinary magician Marisa Kirisame. An ordinary girl, the cold weather, or rather the extra layers of clothing, weakens her abilities somewhat. Her motivation in life is developing uses for magic that aren't beneficial to society. Wait a minute, what? Did I read that right? Her motivation in life is developing uses for magic that are not beneficial to society. Also eco-friendly too. So Marisa's main goal in life is to make magic that isn't beneficial to anyone. She just wants to make magic. That's fucking funny. That's funny. One of her recent great magic spells summoned a hot spring vein underneath her house to use as a floor heating device? What? I didn't know that. Are you telling me in 2003, Marisa perfected the art of clown under the floorboards before clown even existed? Wow. She summoned a hot spring vein underneath her house, and now she has floor heating. Marisa has internal floor heating in her house since PCB, and I didn't know about this. I did not know about this. She's actually a hard worker, as well as an avid collector. There are many precious grimoires and other magic items she has collected from all sorts of places all around her house. However, she doesn't use them. Magic is her weapon. For the time being, her aim is to create a new elixir. Both of her spell cards types are certainly not lacking in damage. She's also the character with the highest speed. Magic Napalm isn't very effective against moving targets. Love Sign's Illusion Laser continues to hit enemies with its after image, so it's easy to continuously damage the enemy, making it quite useful. Also, Master Spark is a powerful bomb that can deal the highest damage with good stability. This is the Touhou wiki, yes. This is the Omake text in the Touhou wiki. It's just a translation. It's just a translation of the Omake texts. So next is the Omake text. That was manual earlier. Ordinary Black Magician, Marisa Kirisame. Mainly she possesses the ability to use magic. A bit of an ordinary magician living against Sakuya, she has a mania for collecting things. It looks like her mania for collecting things is getting more serious after each year. Her house, which she rarely invites anyone into by the way, is located in the Forest of Gensokyo, aka the Forest of Magic. It's a bit on the smallish side. The interior is extremely disordered and would cause an avalanche of collected items if an earthquake hit. When magic items are gathered in one place, they tend to interfere with each other, causing their powers to amplify, weaken, or in some cases even develop completely different powers. Due to this fact, this house may hide items that even Marisa herself never imagined possible. On another topic, the elixir she had been secretly developing during the winter ended up being too large for consumption. More improvement is required. So, well, okay, so Marisa's house is small and it's a hazard. It's hazardous. It's a hazard warning. She doesn't invite people into her house. And apparently she was creating an elixir, but it was too large for consumption. That reminds me of the episode of SpongeBob, the April Fool's Day episode, where SpongeBob opens the fridge and he pulls out that fucking pitcher of lemonade and he goes, "This is an extreme thirst." And then, you know, he pours like 100 glasses of lemonade, and then he says April Fools to himself. What a Chad. What a guy. He played himself. You gotta respect that hustle. Okay. Next, immaterial and missing power. Ordinary magician, Marisa Kirisame. Species, human. Location, the Kirisame household in the Forest of Magic. Ability to use magic. An ordinary magician, she usually cloisters herself in her house, located in the Forest of Magic, where there are almost no visitors, and researches magic. Her personality is unyielding and obstinate, but deep down she is an honest person. She's treated like an annoyance wherever she goes, but in fact she often causes the annoyance to begin with. One of the reasons she stays in the forest is because no one bothers to go there. She doesn't want to be disturbed while she's doing research, and when she wants to meet others, she can always go there herself. She's like a send-only cell phone. However, she causes a disturbance at others' places wherever she goes. She has good speed and power, but poor melee technique. While her movement is fast, her attacks are slow. She covers for her lack of physical strength with magic, but the amount of enhancement is actually overkill. Oh man. So Marisa's she's a bit of a hermit, huh? But that's gonna change soon, I imagine. Next is Imperishable Knight, the manual. Ordinary magician, Marisa Kirisame. A magician, a human living in the Forest of Magic. She can use magic. She spends her days rummaging through the items and books in her house, trying to develop magic that would be useful for cleaning her disheveled room. Needless to say, she hasn't had any success. Okay. She's a hard worker as well as a collector. She hates losing, but she also dislikes those who clearly hate losing. What a troublesome person who hates losing. Wait a minute. You're telling me she's a sore loser, but she's also a sore winner? Her weapon is magic. When in the dark, she lights up the surroundings with magic. Notes. She teams with Alice in this title. Focus speed only applies when she's used as a solo character. Her missile's explosion deals a good amount of damage, so it's useful for shooting swarms of enemy familiars down. It will kill most enemies instantly. Recommended for players who do not care for subtlety. I see. Dude, there's so much lore here. Like I'm like Reimu's was fine, but I feel like Zuna's really taken the extra mile here to write shit about Marisa, you know? Like he's having fun with this one. Next is the Omake text. Ordinary black magician, Marisa Kirisame. Species human, ability to use magic. She's an ordinary magician living against Sakuya. She also has a mania for collecting things. No one has any business in the Forest of Magic, so she lives there in comfortable solitude while studying to improve her magical ability. You might imagine witches as being indoor-type people, but Marisa is a rather active outdoor-type person. She prefers a lively atmosphere over silence, but still doesn't like to be disturbed when she's studying. The Forest of Magic is the perfect place for her because almost no one bothers to visit her there. Marisa would also like to point out that concealing my half-finished works is not the reason I'm living in there. I see. Yeah, if you're not the main character, you're allowed to have crazier lore. But that said, I do think Reimu has some pretty decent lore, all things considered. But she definitely has a little bit of like I'm the main character, so you can't go too crazy, right? All right, next is wait, there's two texts in here for from Perishable Night. So let's see. A bit past midnight, she felt a disturbance ripple through the forest. She had a feeling that something bad was about to happen, and she was right. Many hours later, it was still as dark as midnight, long past the time of dawn, as though the night was everlasting. She left home in a hurry to investigate this interesting night, and was a little too impatient when she met the people responsible for the unnaturally long night. Oh, but it's Reimu! What's up? Phantasmagoria Flower Review. A human living in the Forest of Magic. She has the ability to use magic. This disaster, which covered whole Gensokia with flowers, didn't affect the forest. The forest doesn't need a pretty plant like that after all. This had little effect on her. However, as she enjoys these flowers outside of the... Wait, what? The sentence just stops there. What? That had little effect on her, however, as she enjoys the flowers outside of the forest. Oh, I see. I just read the sentence wrong. No, it's fine. It's fine. I just read it wrong. Okay. So, Marisa's just part of Phantasmagoria Flower Review because she liked the scenery, even though it didn't affect her in the slightest. And there's still that's the manual. This is the Omake text. A somewhat ordinary magician living against Sakuya. She also has a mania for collecting things. She lives in the Forest of Magic where humans rarely visit and leads a carefree life while researching magic. Every action she takes is for herself, and she solves incidents just because she wants to do so. This time, as disaster has covered all against Sakuya evenly, she decided to sweep across the place. So she gets involved because she's bored. Don't mind her. Mountain of Faith. Exactly as you expect. An ordinary magician living against Sakuya. She's a mania for collecting things. So that's going to be her, the all too familiar Shrine Maiden. She seems a bit weird, but in reality, she's the most straightforward. She always wears black clothing because she thinks that's what magic users should do, and because it hides dirt very well. Very straightforward. This time, she's just following Reimu's lead, but since this doesn't look like a typical incident, she's thinking about what she should do when she gets to the mountain. She has a surprisingly high amount of faith. Her fighting style generally relies on equipment that is suitable for people who like positioning themselves. It becomes very powerful once you master it. She's just tagging along. She has no horse in this race, but she's still tagging along anyway. So, Scarlet Rhapsody. Race, human, occupation. Magician, place of residence, Kirisame residence, force magic, ability to use magic. Personality, inconsiderate and lacking manners, but generally straightforward. In addition, she's a collector. The SWR things are quite small. God, I'm gonna get to Iku and it's gonna be like fish. And that's it. That's just it. No more. Next is Essay. She seems a bit weird, but in reality, she's the most straightforward. She always wears black clothing because she thinks what magic users do and hides dirt. Okay, that's all the same. Since she's a magician, she has good affinity with magic, with yokai who use magic. Nevertheless, not many people are very fond of her. Wow, that's kind of mean. Omake text. She rather likes dark, enclosed spaces. I swear to God, that is the only difference between what I just read and what I'm reading now. It's just that sentence. She likes dark, enclosed spaces. That's it. That's the only difference between the manual text and the Omake text. All right. Oh, the Bogetsu is actually translated here. Marisa, human ability to use magic. A magician working in the Kirisame magic shop in the forest far away from the human village. Though she works, the shop is mostly closed. A collector of magic items and a hard-working type, unlike Reimu. Even then, with her competitive and straightforward personality, she probably does not show her true self. This is not K, is it? No, it isn't. It's one of the discs. One of the music collection discs. I don't know which one, huh? Ordinary, let's see, undefined fantastic object. An ordinary magician living against Sakuya, mania for collecting things. Yep, dirt, hide dirt. In actuality, she doesn't believe that there are treasures in the ship. That would be too easy. She boards the ship because it seemed fun to her, even if there's no treasure. She's just brimming with curiosity. Alright. Next, Wildhorn Hermit. The bold yet cautious human, a normal magician that lives in the forest. She visits the shrine often, mainly to play along with Reimu's inspirations, or make Reimu play along with hers. If you were to call Reimu a genius, Marisa would be the hard worker, but she never shows her hard work to others. 10 desires. She noticed the divine spirits were actually masses of human desire. Her motivation is from pure curiosity. Curiosity is also a form of desire. Hopeless masquerade. The human representative magician Kirisame Marisa. The village is reverberating with the sound of a festival. However, this festival somehow smells empty-handed and momentary. The religionist, whose job it is to ensure the hearts of others smell like joy, the girl anticipates it, and before the religionist tastes the sweet soup, she appeared in combat to increase her own allies. Special skill, 3-tiered embellishment magic. Each star lights up one by one and uses strong range for attack or special attacks, and when all stars are lit up, the next strong ranged attack or special attack will be powered up. Depending on the attack, a different aspect of it will be strengthened, such as its power increasing, its range enlarging, or granting a period of invincibility. Generally speaking, Marisa is dangerous when all the stars are lit up. Last word, Sungrazer. Riding on her broom, Marisa mows down the vicinity and crushes her opponent, and when undefended, performs a strong skill, full force assault. The attack range of her sweeping through is wide, and you can rely on Marisa to be invincible while attacking. Double dealing character. Her mini Hakudo shoots intense flames. Fearing that it might start emitting fire on its own, she has to keep it outside of her house. The forest of magic is quite humid, so there shouldn't be any danger of starting a forest fire. But holy shit. Marisa almost accidentally burned the forest down. Urban legend and limbo. Horror, magician of the school. The occult, the 7 wonders of the school. There's power in firepower. A magician with a natural talent for great firepower. She fights with highly penetrating projectiles and power-efficient blows. However, her one weakness is the low maneuverability that comes with such overwhelming power. Her occult attack is the non-fiction school horrors. The indescribable horrors led Marisa a hand, and with morphed appearances, they come charging. Now we're on Law K. It's a rather odd turn of events. She obtained a power stone from the lunar capital. Just as she started to realize that somehow this power stone had been manifesting the urban legends, the lunar emissaries finally appeared. And next is June game. High power and star-loving magician. This whole perfect possession thing is a heck of a lot easier than I thought, huh? A black and white magician who does diligent research in the forest of magic. After discovering the perfect possession incident, she enjoys the possession battles with the help of her bizarre slave. However, Marisa soon comes to realize that the perfect possession rumor has been spreading all too fast. Her fighting style may be plain, but with her deep devotion to researching firepower and speed, she can run circles around any enemy. Hidden star in 4 seasons. This incident isn't directly harmful, so she's at a loss as to where to begin. Before she's even considered doing a standard investigation, she was pulled into a fierce battle with the excited fairies. Wily beast and weakest creature. An ordinary magician living against Sakuya. She has a mania for collecting things. By allowing a beast spirit to possess her, she can become far more powerful than usual. As this was an extremely attractive prospect to her, she took the beast spirit up on its offer. She felt no fear about going to hell. In fact, she was quite excited to find out what sorts of beings awaited her. Unconnected marketeers. A myriad variety of magic powers were hidden in the cards. Every single power belonged to a human or yokai that she knew. Faced with something so interesting, she thought she had to collect them faster than anyone else. Everyone was bound to do the same, because of course, that would make their value shoot right up. And then finally, at the end, the Dai Touhou. One of the other protagonists. Reimu is too sloppy to be the only protagonist, so Marisa is designed to be a more human-like character, compared to Reimu. She seems to be the type who doesn't give a crap. However, she's the one with a serious attitude who's actually caring and hardworking. She's Reimu's friend, but also Reimu's rival. They both have the same goal when it comes to incident solving, but they just have to make it a competition and act on their own. I wish someday they can just work together so we could get to play co-op. And there you go, chat. There you go, that's Daze. So where does she go? So let's see. To be honest, I want to put her up here. Right next to Reimu. Right up top. Let me explain why. This is a fantastic theme, by the way. It's from Touhou Soccer. It's Shinki's shot theme. So, here's why. So, we actually get more information on Marisa's personality through the course of these Omake texts in Reimu. And we hear different things about her house life, like how her house is like not the Force of Magic itself, but more so Marisa's house. Like, I would call that sick universe lore, you know? I call that cool character lore, Pog lore. She has heated floors. Her house is a mess. She made an elixir for some unknown reason that was too big for PCB. She's currently trying to make magic to sort out her house and all of its, its mess. She runs a shop there. But good God, that was a lot, but that was good. I enjoy. And now we're on the PC98 characters, starting with Touhou 1. You know what that means, right? Oh man, Shingo Yuku. I don't even know if this character has Omake text. Lamau. Official sources. There is no Omake text for Singyoku. No Make. What about Yugen Magan? Yugen Magan. There is no Omake text. I know this. This is one of the... What is it? It's a Sunny Milk Scarlet Mist incident. I knew this was one of the music, not music, but one of the CDs, and it was Flandre's theme. I forget that for some reason Sunny Milk has a mix of you and Owen. She's very powerful. Alright, next is Ellie. So, I'm beginning to think there's no Omake text for any character from Touhou 1, but I have to check just in case. You know? I have to check just in case. Nope. Now, Mima there actually will be. Yep, we got two. We have two Omake texts from Mima. Here we go. Mystic Square and Phantasmagoria, Dim Dream. Spirit who leaves fate to the dreams of eternity. Mima. An evil spirit that resents the Hakone Shrine, or used to. As she's been an evil spirit for quite a long time, her evilness has completely fallen off from her. Now she enjoys her days making fun of Reimu. She is like the deity, evil deity, of the shrine by now, but her personality is more humanish than human. As strange things are happening again, she is looking forward to more upcoming events. And then Mystic Square. Mima, an evil spirit that has been living, for a very long time. As she can't remember things for such a long time, she appears to be enjoying her current days. She's like the deity, evil deity of the shrine now, but her personality is more humanish than human. Alright, so there you go. There's your lore. I'd put that under, where would I put that under? I wonder where I'd put that under. What's her name? Kongara. Nope. Does not have anything. Sariel definitely doesn't have anything either, but again, I just gotta double check. Don't want to miss anything. Sariel, no. I actually wonder about Genji. Genji has one. Genji has one. Oh, that's wrong. Didn't mean to open that. There we go. Genji has one. Turtle. Genji. A turtle who's lived a long life and gained many powers. Reimu captured him one day during training, and has worked him hard ever since. He has the power to fly freely through the sky. What do you mean Reimu captured him? The fuck? I didn't know that. Reimu captured him during training. I had no idea. I thought Genji was just looking after the Hakude Shrine Maiden. I know he got monster balled. He got monster balled. You know what? I'm gonna put that under neat, I guess, because I didn't know that. I had no idea. That is neat information. That's not. I wouldn't call that sick character lore, but that's like, that definitely gave me like a neat. You know. Of course, he could also go here, but Genji's retired. The please on more characterization, please, is more so for Windows era than PC98, because PC98 is not gonna have anything anyway. Next is Rika. Rika does not have anything. No Omake. This is a mid-boss. This is a Merida. Definitely not. Well, we're just gonna no Omake everything real quick and speed up the process a little bit, huh? It's a mid-boss. What about Evil Eye Ligma? Evil Eye Sigma. Objects. Span. Evil Eye. No. No, there's nothing there for him. That's a flower. That's orange. Alright, what about orange? I gotta check the new games as well. Orange. Orange has nothing. Alright, so PC98. I like this additional information. Holy shit, this character's page is so empty. She and Hong Meiling look similar. Orange maybe could also be connected to Chen, whose name means orange. That doesn't mean they're connected. Kurumi, Mirror, Ellie, Hikariko, and Yuka, who definitely is gonna have something. Okay. What does she have? We got spell cards. We got 3. Mystic Square, Kyogyoku, which I assume is Seiho, and Phantasmagoria Flower View. So we have 1 for Windows Yuka and 2 for PC98 Yuka. Also, holy shit, that's Seiho art. Wow. Alright, here we go. Mystic Square, Yuka, yokai. One of the strongest yokai living around Hakude Shrine, but her personality is such that one can never tell what she's thinking. So she's a very uncharismatic yokai. However, she's actually seems to be quite sharp-witted. Wow, that's small. The next one, Kyogyoku, yokai moe. Now then, with absolutely no relation, well, some relation, the only character with a slightly different feel, Yuka, is actually the last boss I made a long time ago for the STG Touhou Lotus Land story, and is a playable character for Touhou Mystic Square. A yokai. Yes, yokai moe. The reason she doesn't feel oriental at all is because she's a yokai. Yes, yokai moe. By the way, I think that 10 out of 10 people would read the level 1 barrage as moe kaze. Wonder if a yokai would come out, like in my room or my workplace. A Shrine Maiden is fine too. Also, after Mystic Square's extra ending as planned, Yuka received the ultimate magic. The author himself didn't know exactly what it is. It's definitely something moe. Moe. Tilde. Neat. I don't know how to respond to that. That was the Seiho one. Okay. Alright. Give her own tier. And next we have Phantasmagoria. So this is Windows Yuka. Flower Master of the Four Seasons, Kazami Yuka. Species, Yokai. Ability, manipulating flowers. A yokai that lives in Gensokyo. She has the ability to manipulate flowers. She loves seasonal flowers, so throughout the year she moves to the respective places where the flowers grow. Spring flowers for spring, summer flowers for summer, autumn flowers for autumn, and although there aren't many, winter flowers for winter. I fucking love this this version of Remy's theme. This is Immaterial Missing Powers, guitar shredding battle theme for Remilia. I love this one. This time, as she witnessed Gensokyo being overtaken by flowers, she wasn't surprised at all and very well understood the situation. Although she understood it, she thought it'd be paradise if it was always this way. The outbreak must eventually be resolved. She decided that she would enjoy this outbreak while she can. It'd be a waste to not enjoy this once every 60 years outbreak. Without a destination in mind, she enjoyed the flowers as she slept and awoke as her pattern continued. Now, I actually learned something new there. I did not know that she travels. That actually explains something. So, you find what time of year does POFV take place? It takes place in summer, right? I assume it takes place in summer, so that's why you find Yuka in the sunflower fields, right? But I guess also when you go to the sunflower fields in Touhou 16, Yuka's not around because Yuka is somewhere else admiring the flowers in another location. Because remember, the seasons are all out of whack, so she's probably off doing something else. So that's neat. I'm actually going to put that under sick character lore. Now, you may think that's a bit of a stretch. But I honestly didn't know that about Yuka, and considering, remember, the sample size is I get one text. One text spot. Like, one paragraph is all I get for this character, as opposed to, like, 18 for the other two characters. I actually like that lore. Yeah, that can actually be an explanation as to why Yuka wasn't around the sunflower, the Garden of the Sun. Because she was off enjoying the seasonal flowers elsewhere. And, the fact that she travels around like that, so she's not, I guess she's more nomadic, right? She probably, like, I like the idea that she lives in a cottage at the sunflower field, but it's cool to see that she's more, like, she travels around the place, right? She goes around places during seasons to just observe flowers. That's really cool. I really like that. I'm actually really, really impressed by that lore. Well, I say impressed, but it's more like I'm impressed there's even any lore there to begin with, that it's like, oh, neat. Alright. Mugetsu, there is nothing. What about what about Ellen? There is Omake text. Okay, there is official profile text for characters from Touhou 3. So, we are going to get things from Ellen and Kotohime and whatnot, but it's going to be very, very small. Alright. Hard-working witch who dreams of love, Ellen. Ellen is a witch who never grows old. To make up for living for a very long time, she does not have a very good memory. She forgets drops of memories one after the other. Because of that, she is always a child. Quoted from Haraki no what? As such, while she may not look like one, she is a creditable witch. Truly, she has lived for quite a long time. Today, too, the fluffy goes popping by her magic. Wow, that's kind of depressing. Huh. That's actually kind of depressing. So she's old, but her memories just keep fading away, and now she's like she's always a child. That's wow. I mean, that's kind of sick, but also like depressing. I'm gonna put that under sick because I didn't know that. And now that I know that, I kind of feel bad. Like, I feel differently about the character. Not in a negative way, but now I feel kind of sad for her existence, you know? It's not fair to her. There we go. Next is for Kotohime. A princess dreaming of beauty in Danmaku. Kotohime. A princess who's always a little bit off, since her personality is something of failure. She doesn't get out to meet people often, so no one really knows what she's like. Except that as a proprietor of feelings most people don't have, she's something of a collector of things normal people don't find interesting. In other words, she's a genuine collection freak. I wonder why she's going to the ruins this time. Could be just on a whim. Huh. Well, I'm gonna put that under neat, I guess. It doesn't really specify much. It doesn't specify much in there, I think. She's a collector of weird things. That's all I really got out of that, but I don't think that's much of anything. So I'm just gonna leave it as is. She's also a cop. And she stars in the hit GTA game San Andreas. Kana Abominable. The maiden poltergeist who's lost her dreams. Kana Anabaro. The shade of a mentally unstable girl. She normally is bound to an enormous Western-style mansion, but lately its owner has gotten used to her and won't pay her much mind, so she's thinking of moving. She thought she'd come see what all the fuss was about. Jesus, alright. You gave me 3 sentences and you just dissed her. She's literally just someone who haunted a mansion, and then the owner of the mansion got used to it, so now she's just fucking off. Wait a minute. Wait a minute, chat. What if she's from the SDM? Alright, think about this for a second. Now, the Windows era and the PC98 era aren't connected, so this is all bullshit anyway. But an enormous Western-style mansion. There is one... Nay, there are 2 places that fit that category in Windows era. One of them is where the Prison Rivers live, but that one is not really known about other than it being an abandoned mansion. And there's the SDM itself, right? The SDM, home to vampires, witches, and fairies, right? So after a while, they just stopped caring about old Ghosty Goo over there, and so Ghosty Goo just disappeared. Now again, PC98 lore, Windows lore, it's allowed. The final stance on the lore of these series is that anything that's canon in PC98 is canon in Windows until Windows contradicts it, in which case it's no longer canon in the overall thing. So basically, anything that doesn't directly contradict something that happens in Windows era is considerable as canon in Windows. Or well, I think I mixed that up, but anything that does not contradict canon in Windows on PC98, it can be considered canon in Windows era. That kind of thing. So, you know, you can believe what you want to believe there. I'm going to put that under neat, I guess, though, because there's not really much of anything. But if you think of it like that, it's kind of funny. It kind of lets Kana come back to a certain extent. She was originally haunting the SDM. And Rikako, I love Rikako. Miss Science. Scientist that looks for dreams. Asakura Rikako. There aren't a lot of people in this world that believe in science. Magic rules supreme. Rikako is one of those rare believers in science in this world. She herself believes that there must be some power beyond magic. However, she is also a magic user, and a fairly powerful one at that. I didn't know that, by the way. Setting aside science for a moment, when she gets serious with her magic power, nothing can stop her. But she doesn't really like magic, so this doesn't happen often. She believes that these ruins were created by science, but I had no idea that Rikako was a proficient magic user, but she just doesn't like using magic because she likes science more. Because she flies with a jetpack. So I'm going to put that under neat, I guess. I'm putting it under neat. I didn't know she was a magic user who's holding back. I thought she was just using science magic, but I guess that kind of makes sense. That kind of makes sense with because when she reaches Chiuri and Yumemi, it's like they use science magic, right? It's pretty cool. It's actually pretty cool. You know what? I'm moving her up. Now that I thought about it, I'm moving her up. That's sick. She's deliberately holding back on her strengths because she likes science more. That's kind of Giga Chad. Alright. And here's Chiuri. Oh boy. Oh my god. Resident of fantasy that runs through time. Chiuri Kitashirakawa. A girl with a somewhat odd way with words. She's Yumemi's rather outspoken assistant, so she seems to be able to speak frankly with her. She may look immature, but she's 15. She's 15 years old. Probably immature. She left graduate school and works as an assistant at a university. In this world, you graduate from college at 11 and leave graduate school at 13. She's specializing in comparative physics, so she's obviously pretty sharp. Right now, her primary tasks are things like organizing the data Yumemi collects. Now, I knew this, by the way. I knew that her and Yumemi are very young, and like the way that version of their outside world works is like wacky. So she graduated college at the age of 11. Yeah, put her up there, right up top. Sailor Marisa. And then Yumemi. My favorite PC98 character. The fantasy legend Okazaki Yumemi. She teaches comparative physics at a university. She doesn't look like it, but she's already 18, which is quite young to be a professor. In Yumemi's world, all the forces such as gravity, electromagnetism, and atomic power have been resolved under a unified theory, which has been proven to explain all known forces in the world. Yumemi believes there may be a force that doesn't fit in with this theory, magic. However, when she announced her theory to the academic community, she became a laughingstock. Yumemi came to this world to get even with the academy, but... So I'm putting her right next to Chiuri. So, yeah. In Yumemi's world, the grand unified theory is been, like, you know, solved. And so Yumemi, who tries to introduce magic into the theory, gets laughed out of her academic community. You know, it's funny. I'm going to spoil the game for you for a little bit. So what happens is after the events of Touhou 3, Yumemi takes her research on magic from Gensokyo and returns back to her world, to which case she proposes her theory again, and this time she is kicked out of her, she's kicked out of the academic community, in which case she just goes back to Gensokyo with Chiuri, and they retire off into a quiet little section of the world. And that's it. That is the last bit of information you get on Chiuri and Yumemi. They get laughed out of their academic profession, and so they return to Gensokyo and just start living however they decide. And then we don't get anything else on them. Now, kind of a sad ending, but they are in Gensokyo. I really like Yumemi's story. I like Yumemi and Chiuri a lot. The idea of them is fairly fleshed out for PC98, I think. She's easily my favorite PC98 character. Okazaki and Rukoto. I wonder if Rukoto has anything, considering she only shows up in an ending. No. However, Sakuya has an alt that looks like it. And his Sotensoku. Okay. Nomake. 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 So what about Touhou 5 characters like Sara? Ooh. Lullaby of a Deserted Hell. No, Sara does not. I'm gonna look at Shinki real quick. If Shinki doesn't have one, then everybody except Alice. No. So, I'm basically gonna skip up to Alice right now, because Alice is gonna have a few, most likely. Alice, Megatron. So, nothing for Sara. Nothing for this thing. Nothing for Luis/Bluis. Now, PC98 Alice. Oh, Shanghai. Hold on. Shanghai doll's there. So, let's see. Alice has 6. She actually doesn't have one for PC98. So, little Alice is going down here. Alright. Alice has 6 for Windows era, so let's check it out. Perfect Cherry Blossom, the character settings text. The 7-colored puppeteer, Alice Margatroyd. The stage 3 boss, kinda ordinary magician. Mainly she possesses the ability to handle magic. She is a versatile magician that has no specific strong or weak point in any area. If you ask me, she is similar to Marisa. Or rather, I'd say a yokai version of Marisa. Alice has an obsession with collecting things as well. It has the habit of collecting magic items, especially magic books. As they both share the same hobby, she often clashes with Marisa, so the relation is like loggerheads. Most recently, she is interested in collecting dolls that have a story associated with them. She has no evident reason to attack Reimu and company. They were chosen for the target of her magic because they were there. Dominating the enemy with overwhelming power is not fun at all for Alice, so she always sees her opponent's reaction and tries to fight with power that exceeds the opponent's by a hair. Even if she loses, she doesn't show her full power. You telling me she holds back? Alice holds back because she doesn't like winning with overwhelming strength. She likes... Alice is a game 5 kind of girl. That's what it is. Alice doesn't want to 3-0 you at a handshake. She wants a game 5 last hit. GG was close. I respect that. I respect that. That's because she thinks it would be at the end of the rope for her if she lost with full power. In this aspect, her personality is somewhat similar to Reimu. Oh, never mind. Okay, there it is. There it is. I missed a very important line. So, Alice holds back because she doesn't... Her reason is she doesn't like winning with overwhelming strength. However, she is terrified of losing while exerting her full power. Okay, that's cool lore. That's cool lore. I dig that. So Alice is someone who prefers to fight within a smidgen of greater strength to their opponent, but is terrified of going all out at the risk of losing and then not being able to like handle it, kind of thing. The end of the rope for her if she lost with full power. I like that. It kind of reminds me of PC98 Alice, where she gets the magical grimoire and she goes full power and like loses, right? So she loses with the big grimoire. So I guess maybe that affects her person. I mean, the two Alices, I'm pretty sure they're different or the same, whatever you feel. But I want to believe here that Alice losing in the Mystic Square extra stage is like, it humbles the fuck out of her, but also traumatizes her a little bit. So now she's afraid of going in full power because she doesn't want to lose again while going at full power. Her pride was hurt once and she's scared of what will happen to her if it happens again. Because she's completely changed. She's grown up. She's changed, but she couldn't shake those old wounds, you know? Of course, that's just me, Marisa stole her self-esteem. Well, yeah. Next, immaterial missing power. 7-color puppeteer, Alice Margatroyd. Species magician. Location, moderate-sized house. In the Forest of Magic, has no specific name. Ability to handle magic. A pure magician. While her appearance is almost identical to humans, she is not one. She is a kind of so-called humanoid yokai. Her house is crammed with a lot of dolls. The sight is so spooky that it scares rare visitors away. The House of Dolls is strangest even in the Forest of the Bizarre. It's no wonder that they tend to run away from there. Her personality is indifferent to others and is easily attached to magic. She puts on a confident attitude, but she actually also has a timid side. She is quite average in melee fighting. Both her body movement and magic using are average. Instead of that, she has very high skillfulness, which enables her to control many dolls as if they were living beings. This skillfulness is among the finest among all of Gensokyo. Well, that's neat lore. I've never known Alice to have a timid side. Not one that I can ever, like, pin. I know she's not as like, aloof as you'd think, based on her interactions with the fairies. But I did know that her house is considered scary. A lot of people run away from her house. So that's kind of probably where her personality comes from. It's just like the idea that, oh, her house looks like this, so she's like, you know, not very conversational and she's scary. But then when you read Sengetsu Say and the fairies show up at Alice's house and she serves some tea with a big smile and they're having a good time. Imperishable Knight. 7-color puppeteer, Alice Margatroyd. A magician living in the Forest of Magic, she possesses the ability to use magic. Puppetry is a type of magic too. She rarely goes out by herself, but she had no other choice this time. She had many similarities to Marisa, namely living in the Forest of Magic, being a magician and having an obsession with collecting things. However, they have an absolute difference in that Alice is a magician as a species, while Marisa is a human magician. Other than that, they're also different in using forest mushrooms as preference or not. Of course, Alice is the one not using them. However, it is not because of such matter that makes both on bad terms. Magic is her weapon. A magician's magic is always originally developed by the magician. Notes. She teams with Marisa this time. Normal speed only applies when she's used as a solo character. Her laser penetrates to last as long as the player wishes, so it's unexpectedly strong. Good against both bosses and weaklings. It's her doll that is shooting the laser though. Recommended for those who want to be done quickly. Oh. Imperishable Light character setting text. Alice Margatroyd, magician, ability to use magic. A magician living in the forest of magic. The greatest difference between Alice and Marisa is that Marisa is a human of magician occupation, whereas Alice is a magician as a species. You might imagine magicians as being indoor type people. In Alice's case, you'd be right. She spends most of her time alone, and the forest is a good place for that. The forest is quite humid, however, and her dolls will become damaged without her constant care. Because of this, she's currently planning to make a doll that will automatically take care of her other dolls. So as you know, Alice's goal in life is to create a fully autonomous doll, which is mentioned right there in Imperishable Light's character text. And also in Hisso Tensoku's story. Scarlet Weather Rhapsody. 7-color puppeteer, Alice Margatroyd. Race, magician. Occupation, magician. Place of residence, the Margatroyd residence in the Forest of Magic. Ability to handle magic. Personality, indifferent towards others and loves magic. And then subterranean animism. A puppeteer that lives in the forest. She felt something odd about the geyser that erupted, but since yokai prefer not to go underground, she worried over what to do. That's when she noticed that Marisa was especially interested in the geyser, so she convinced Marisa to investigate the underground for her. She told her that investigating the hot spring would be a fun game, and pointed her towards the source of the geyser. She also made her carry dolls that had Yukari's remote control devices in them. Oh! Oh, so that's how Alice communicates with, Marisa in her shot type. They're inside the dolls she uses. I never really thought of that, to be honest with you. I know how Reimu and Yukari communicate, but I never thought about it for the other characters. So somehow, Alice got her hands on those communication devices and used them and put them in her dolls. Alright. Alright, and that's everything for her. And I have to say, I'm thinking. So here's the thing. Okay, I don't know if it counts as universe. I'm gonna count it as universe lore. I'm gonna count it as universe lore about her house, not so much the character. So the idea that a lot of people are afraid of her house because of when you walk in there, it's just filled with dolls and it scares people away. But also the fact that it goes a bit into like Alice as a character. She's very, she's an introvert, but you know, she's confident. Has a timid side. She likes magic. Her methods of magic differ from Marisa's. There wasn't too much there, but there was still like decent amount, like good lore. Yeah, house lore, exactly. So house lore doesn't really count as character lore, so I'm gonna put that under the character lore and universe lore. Alright, next is Shanghai Doll. Shanghai. Shanghai Doll does not have anything. No, nothing for Shanghai Doll. And Yuki and Mai, so as we established, the characters from Touhou 5 aren't gonna have anything. Okay, and now we're on Rumia. Rumia. She has 2. Rumia has 2. I'm actually shocked. Why does she have 2? Okay. Rumia, the embodiment of Scarlet Devil. The yokai of the dusk, Rumia. Ability, manipulating darkness. Stage 1 boss, a yokai. She is of no importance to the story, and isn't up to anything in particular in her life. The ribbon tied to her hair is actually a charm. She can't touch it, even though there have been times where she wanted to take it off. There's no evidence of her ability to manipulate darkness in the game, but in truth, places around her are always as dark as night. Total of 3 card attacks. See? So the Omake text explains that the ribbon in Rumia's hair is a charm, and she cannot touch it. She can't take it off. It's permanently stuck in her hair. Why? No one knows. No one knows. But do you think by can't touch it, you mean she can't get her arms over her shoulders? Is that why she T-poses? She T-poses not because she likes T-posing. I mean, she T-poses because it makes her look like a saint on a cross. I know why. But can she put her arms above her shoulders? Or is it just like if she tries to touch the ribbon, she gets like a static shock and it's like, no. Or it just doesn't budge. Like playing with a magnet. And we also have Zun's comment from Dai Tohoten. It's been a long time since the last title, so I wanted to have a character that's full of surprise, and here she is. She's a girl with a serious power that controls darkness, yet her first line is so bright and casual, starting with "So nanoka!" I like her because she's the representation of Touhou's world being contrarian, where the savage becomes relaxed. Although she's not an important figure in the narrative, her ability to be in the dark at any time was set to create an association with vampires who despise sunlight. Her ribbon was designed to have some secrets within, but it hasn't been used so far. Lol. There you go. So, I'm putting Ruma under sick character lore, because that's sick character lore. So Rumia is a yokai of darkness, who is basically designed to flip expectations, I suppose. Well, not flip expectations, but to act as a representation of Touhou, as it says here. So a meat-eating man-eating yokai, a beast who's capable of manipulating the dark, shows up, and it's just fucking Ruma. He said lol. I'm just reading it. I'm not ad-libbing that. It's lol. It's in parentheses. They have a character in there that's like haha whatever, but it gets translated as LOL. So I'm just yeah, WW whatever. All right, well, there's your Ruma lore. All right, now Dayose. Dayose. Oh, whew. Did you really expect anything there? Cheerbo. Normal and tan. Cherno has... Wow, that's actually quite a few. 8. Cherno has 8 Omake texts. There's no Dayose. Alright, embodiment of Scarlet Devil. The Ice Fairy of the Lake. Chirbo. Ability, manipulating cold. Stage 2 boss, a girl of snow. Her intellect is not very developed. She's just like a child. She's just a child. To Reimu and Marisa, she can be easily defeated. She likes playing tricks and often toys with frogs. She freezes them instantly, then watches them revive as they thaw in the water. She tends to fail 1 out of every 3 attempts. However, and the poor amphibian shatters to pieces. What? I didn't know that. You're telling me that frogs only have a 33% chance of surviving Chirbo? Oh my god. The poor amphibian shattered to pieces. Chirno, you can't do that. Yeah, actually, Misty Izakaya did mention that. That her success rate on frogs is like 1 in 3. Turns out that's canon. That's in the Omake. Jesus, Chirno, what are you doing? Perfect Cherry Blossom. Yokai of the Ice. Chirno. Stage 1 mid-boss. A yokai of ice that likes cold places. Mainly, she possesses the ability to manipulate of cold. She didn't have any specific reason for attacking Reimu and company, so she attacked them just for being there. Chirno radiates chilling air from herself, whether it be summer or winter, so the air around her is always cold. It's cold in the spring as well, of course. Autumn, too. That just reminds me of the first episode of Memories of Phantasm, where Marisa shows up at Reimu's doorstep and she's just holding Chirno. Just like, yo, I brought you something. And then just chucks her out, and then Chirno gets up and just starts screaming Baka. Baka, 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 baka. I love that scene. Bringing Chirno right to your doorstep. Alright, Phantasmagoria Flower Review. Small Fairy of the Ice, Chirbo. A fairy who likes pranks, she has the ability to manipulate cold. Without thinking of her own strength, she sets up pranks and ends up having a painful experience every time. That can be said of most fairies, but without reflecting on her past painful experiences at all, Chirno sets up pranks one after another. The disaster this time has all the fairies in an uproar, so she'll probably show up too. And then the Omake text. An ice fairy who usually stays at the lake, which is like her headquarters. She's basically just a fairy, so she's an idiot who loves pranks. Since the flowers are blooming so much, lots of people are coming to the lake. This leads to the fairies being even more troublesome than usual, so she decided to join them and be a bother as well. I see everybody is causing a ruckus. Where do I sign up? Next. Oh, wow. She actually has a blur from Hisotensoku. Fairy of the Ice, Chirbo. The small fairy was as agitated as usual, because today she had seen something bigger than the mountain. Of course, in reality, it was much smaller than the mountain, but from her impression, there wasn't that big of a difference. It was soon hidden in mist and disappeared from sight, but she was certain it was definitely the great yokai Dai Darabochi. She didn't know where it normally lived, but a moment after she became excited by seeing a rare yokai, the Shrine Maiden descended from the yokai mountain. Have you seen any giant robot, any big moving around here? Asking that, the Shrine Maiden started searching in the mist. The small fairy found itself driven on by an odd irritation, thinking that she saw it first, so it was her thing. I didn't see any Dai Darabochi. Saying that, she diverted the Shrine Maiden. From nothing more than simple curiosity, she decided to search for the great yokai here. Did you see anything big moving around? I didn't see nothing. I didn't see nothing. Double dealing character. Holy shit, she actually has a blur from double dealing character? Yet she doesn't have a blur from Great Fairy Wars? What the fuck? Okay. Stage 1 mid-boss, Ice Fairy, the Lake, Chirbo. Species, Fairy. Ability to manipulate ice. A fairy that lives on the misty lake, treated as no better than the grunts. Damn, Chirno fans in shambles. Hidden star in 4 seasons. The unmelting ice fairy under the blazing skies. Chirno. Species fairy, ability capable of manipulating ice. An ice fairy who hangs out around the lakeside. For some reason, she's obtained the strength to remain undefeated by the midsummer sun, and has fallen into a terrible state of mental invincibility. She doesn't think there's any incident going on in particular, but wanted to travel the world while she's feeling courageous. That's all. And then Zun's comment from Dai Tohoten. Before EOSD, mobs didn't have any design set in stone. But in EOSD, I decided it was time to give those mobs a concrete design that lines up with the current Touhou design philosophy, and I gave one of them a special personality. That one special mob was Chirno, an overconfident child who doesn't know her place. That's the image of her character. She made multiple appearances throughout the series, and she's still relevant as of today, which I had never expected at the point I made her. FYI, the impression of Chirno being an idiot resulted from the line in POFB player manual. In other words, it was an act. It was my act leading to all of this. I'm sorry. Wow. There you go. I'm sorry. Zun apologizes because he knows he is the reason why Chirno started getting treated the way she did after Touhou 9. I'm sorry. What a powerful word. What a powerful sentence. Wow. Next is Meiling. You know, that kind of fits. You know what? You're right. You're right. That is universe lore. It breaks the fourth wall a little bit, but that is good universal lore right there. Zun apologizing for calling Chirbo an idiot. That's the lore we've all wanted to see. How do you spell Meiling? God damn it. I fat fingered it like 5 times. Alright, Meiling, you have 3. You have 3. Alright. Meiling. Chinese girl. Hong Meiling. Ability, the usage of ki. Stage 3. A Chinese-looking yokai. Her clothing is colorful and somewhat traditional. She's the gatekeeper of the Scarlet Devil Mansion and prevents intruders from beyond the lake from reaching the mansion. She is by no means a special character, but she is the first character that has something to do with the main story, even if that something happens to be merely mentioning the mistress. Total of 7 card attacks. Touhou Hisotensoku. Chinese girl Hong Meiling. The always noisy Scarlet Devil Mansion. That day, it was as noisy as ever. Its gate guard had reported something to the mansion's master, Remilia Scarlet, but the master had loftily ignored her. The girl felt a vague sense of uneasiness. That morning, she had seen a giant figure. Then it dissolved into a lukewarm mist and disappeared. Just what was that? A big shadow like a rock, and a sinister mist being produced. She was certain. It was the shadow of the Buddha of misfortune, Taisui Jingjun. I don't know if I said that properly. Xingjun. Is that Jingjun? I have no idea. I can't pronounce the X's in Chinese. I don't remember what they pronounce like. This Magus Knights. Well, I'm pretty sure like the Jing Dynasty, right? It's Xing. And then Jun, which is just Jun. She reported to the master of the mansion that an evil god that all yokai must join forces and fight against had finally appeared in Gensokyo. Naturally, nobody listened to her. The girl thought, in order to break up the everyday boredom with a little fun, she had intentionally exaggerated a bit. It's either Xing or Zing. Oh, okay. Xingjun or Xingjun? I'm not sure. Either way, I don't know what Taisui Jingjun is, but it's Buddhism, apparently. The Buddha of misfortune. And now this one's coming from Dai Tohoten. For my first Windows debut with a title named Eastern, wouldn't it be interesting if I designed it around a Western-style mansion? That's the contrarianism EOSD was based on, and I made it more fun by making a Chinese gatekeeper guarding a Western-style mansion. She's the character born from such extreme contrarianism. During that time, her name was so hard to pronounce, so people gave her the lovely nickname China, and people loved it. Nowadays, pretty much everyone knows how to pronounce her actual name, at least I hope so. She's a versatile character that can fill both a cool and a dumb role. He's actually right about that. So, if you don't know what he's talking about, so I believe it has something to do with the way you read the characters in Meiling's name, but Meiling's name is Hong Meiling. However, you could also read her name as Kurenai Mizuzu. That was, so her name, she had two different names effectively by how you read her name. So people just started calling her China as like, okay, that's how you know who you're talking about. Like, you know how M. Bison, Balrog, and Vega, they all have names in the English version, but they call them like Boxer, Claw, and Dictator or whatever. Like, it's weird like that. I don't really know the purpose of that personally, but I know them as Balrog, M. Bison, and Vega, but they call them like, yeah, Boxer, Dictator, and Claw. It's pretty cool. M. Bison is supposed... Right, it's because M. Bison... Is it because Balrog is called M. Bison in like the Japanese version or something? And the names are just like confused? The names are like confused or something to avoid like copyright issues, so they made M. Bison the Dictator, and then they made Balrog the Boxer. So they just call him Dictator because everybody knows who you're talking about when you say Dictator, as opposed to being like, you know, that's like when I say football, am I talking about soccer or am I talking about football, right? Anyway, I'm actually gonna put Meiling under I don't know. Honestly, there really isn't much here. I'm gonna put her here. Now, let me explain why. So her EOSD Omake is pretty much nothing. It's literally just she's a gatekeeper and she's just there. That's it. Her Hiso Tensoku is she sees something while gatekeeping and nobody believes her, so she exaggerates. The only reason I put it in neat, I guess, is because of Zun's comments from Tohoten, which aren't necessarily Omake, so it's a little bit cheating. But if you remove the Dai Tohoten plague, I would put Meiling down here. I think Meiling deserves a little bit more characterization than what she gets. But I do think it's neat that Zun explains exactly what came, like how exactly, how Meiling came to be as a character. The contrarianism and the bit about her name. So yeah. Oh jeez. Thank you for the raid, Christian. Yes, well, I hope you don't mind staring at a screen for the last, like, 2 hours. I'm going through characters and their Omake texts and ranking them based on how cool the lore is. And I've been at this for almost 2 hours, about 2 hours now, and I've barely made a dent in it because the main characters have an absolute fuck ton of lore to them. All right, I'm moving on now to Kwakama. Kwakama. This sounds like Monkey Ball music. What is this? Oh, it's from Tory Box. So, by the way, chat, the image that is used on the wiki page for Kwakama and Dayose is an image from Strange Creators of Outer World that has both of them together, probably explaining the fact that they are unnamed mid-bosses who just showed up. Wait a minute. In response to questions from fans, Zun revealed some hints of her profile. Devils are a mighty race, like magicians or vampires, but Kwakama is far weaker. It should be noted that Zun is using Little Devil as a generic term for some weak devils. Regardless of that fact, it is usually used as a personal name of the mid-boss of EOSD, Stage 4, in the fan community though. Like Dayose, she is carefree and mischievous, often behaves thoughtlessly. She settles in Scarlet Devil Mansion. She is one of normal enemy class, not boss class characters. There are such many characters that have not been given any special role in the story. So, amazingly enough, there's actually something there for the character, but not really, so no Make. Cheerful and carefree, mischievous, and behaves thoughtlessly. And apparently that's similar to Dayose, according to Zun. Interesting. I've always chalked up Dayose to be one of the more mature characters in the series, especially as a fairy, who's very timid and shy around others, but also scary when she's mad. But she's always around Chirno because she worries Chirno's going to get into trouble. Next is Patchouli, by the way. Patchouli has 6. Alright. The Girl of Knowledge and Shade. Patchouli Knowledge. Ability, manipulating fire, water, wood, metal, earth, sun, and moon. The 4th stage boss. She is the friend of the young mistress and is a witch who has lived for 100 years. The 1 weak girl. Her weak constitution makes her poor at physical combat, but she makes up for that. Hold on, there's 2 4s in here. This needs to be edited. Makes up for that with her various and powerful magical attacks. Patchouli's ribbon is not a holy charm, but rather an accessory that boosts magic power. Her ribbon is an accessory that boosts magic power. Huh. Which one? She's got 2. Hell, she's got 3. She's got a red, blue, and a yellow one. As a genuine witch, she possesses terrifying sorceress powers. However, due to her natural asthma, she has difficulty reciting her incantations to the end. She also seems to have a vitamin A deficiency. Oh, shit. Oh, no. Patchy doesn't have enough vitamin A. Maybe her windowless library room is dusty. No, obviously, it's very dusty. But with all the time she spends near her books, she feels that they're a part of her and cannot stand to be separated from them. She's lived this way for 100 years or so. Total of 21 card attacks. Christ, that's a lot of spell cards. Somebody get her a Flintstone Gummy! An essential source of vitamin A! She is the 1 weak girl. Because... So they call her the 1 weak girl because she's based on the Chinese table of elements, like her attacks are. And there's 1 element for each day of the week, because there's 7 elements. Fire, water, wood, metal, earth, sun, and moon. The 1 week magician. Or the 1 week witch, I suppose. Or the 1 week girl, in this case. Immaterial and missing power. The unmoving great library, Patchouli knowledge. Species, witch. Residence, Scarlet Devil Mansion. Abilities, handling magic, mainly elemental magic. A witch who has settled down in the Scarlet Devil Mansion. Unlike the mistress of the house, she is not weak against sunlight. However, she does not go out much. She spends her days in a library where the sun cannot reach. This is so that the books won't be damaged, but the unhealthy atmosphere is bad for her health. She doesn't have a very provocative personality, but rather always walks her own path. However, she's always interested where knowledge is concerned and will proactively go and try to acquire it. She does everything by the book, but still makes a lot of mistakes. Although she is quite skillful, her complete lack of physical fighting ability can't be helped. She pretty much never attempts to directly punch or kick the opponent. She makes up for this with her knowledge of a great variety of powerful magic. She's more at ease using magic than trying to attack physically. Dividing the magic she uses according to the days of the week is a secret hobby of hers, but nobody has realized this. Wait, what? Dividing the magic she uses according to the days of the week is a secret hobby of hers. So that means Patchy uses specific magic on given days of the week. It's like Raditz. No, Raditz just has... He just hits you with the Saturday Crush, that's all. Double Sunday. Saturday Crush! So that means if you fight Patchy on a Monday, you're dealing with fire magic. You fight on a Tuesday, you're dealing with water magic, you know? But nobody has realized this secret hobby of hers until now. I certainly didn't know this. The Unmoving Great Library, Patchouli Knowledge. This is Scarlet with Rhapsody. Race, Witch. Occupation, Witch. Place of residence, Scarlet Devil Manor. Ability, the ability to work magic, primarily elemental magic. Personality, gloomy and taciturn. What is taciturn? Taciturn. Reserved or uncommunicative in speech, saying little. That sounds about right. Gloomy just means she isn't very sociable. Her spirits aren't so gloomy. That's correct. That's correct. I actually really like the interaction she has with Satori in Cheating Detective, where she ends up ripping into Satori for her over-reliance on her ability to read minds, and insults her basic deductive capabilities because of her over-reliance on it, but she does it with a big old smile on her face. So Patchy is capable of a lot of sass, but she's also capable of producing, like, you know, the heartwarming smile at the same time, which makes it hurt twice as bad. Subterranean Animism, the Great Unmoving Library, Patchouli Knowledge. Species, Magician, Ability, the ability to use magic. Well, she also has a very, like, you know, tired expression on her face in all the fighting game works. Where am I? She noticed a great number of earth spirits welling up from the geyser. On close inspection, these earth spirits looked just like phantoms, but they were actually vengeful spirits, a slightly different variety. Unlike phantoms, vengeful spirits bear grudges against the world. They were a threat to humans, yokai, and fairies alike. Although she wanted to take her time to look for a book on vengeful spirits, it would have been quite dangerous if no one were to check on the geyser. Frustrated, Patchouli went to consult Yukari. Yukari, who was also surprised by the state of affairs, devised a plan to get the humans to explore the underworld. So, I just learned something very interesting. I had no idea that Patchy went and actually communicated with Yukari before the events of SA. I had no idea. Now, I don't remember if those two interact in the story modes of Immaterial Missing Power or Subterranean or Scarlet Letter Rhapsody, but I actually did not know that. That's a very small thing, but it's interesting to me that Patchouli went out of her way to consult Yukari about this situation, in which they both ended up working together to send Marisa. So obviously, as you know, the way canon routes work in Touhou games is very weird. Sometimes they happen at one character's route, but sometimes elements of another character's route do happen in canon, so it's like a big mishmash of events that doesn't make any fucking sense. You basically have to assume that everything that happened is canon, but also, like, Reimu saves the day, the end, right? But, like, sometimes it feels like Marisa's the one who actively solves the incident. It's just really weird. Like, Reimu is the main character in Touhou 14, and you know this because in Wildhorn Hermit, she throws a party celebrating her resolving the incident because nobody knew it was even an incident happening for Touhou 14. So it is 100% irrefutable that Reimu is the main character who solved the incident of Touhou 14. But that's not to say that Marisa and Sakuya didn't do anything at all during the incident, right? But it's so fucked like that, it's impossible to tell. It's impossible to tell what exactly is going on. So just assume that every character was involved to some extent, but Reimu is the one who, like, gets the last hit and gets to be the main character. Anyway, next is actually Bogetsuso. Patchouli Knowledge, Magician, ability to use magic, primary attribute. An old friend of Remilia's who has settled down into the Great Library in the cellars of the Scarlet Devil Mansion. She has mastered many magics and is inventing new ones every day. However, her body is frail, and due to asthma, she often has difficulty chanting her spells. As a member of the race called Magician, her nature is fundamentally different from that of magicians like Marisa, who study magic later in life. You stop calling her a witch, huh? So here's something interesting about Patchy, if you didn't know. So you know how Patchy has spell cards that cause her to use different elements together? Like she'll have burning, like Woodwind Blaze, which is a combination of her wind and fire magic. Patchy's magic comes from her reciting the incantations in her tomes, which means when Patchy is using a spell card that requires 2 different elements, she is simultaneously reading 2 different incantations out of 2 different books at the same time. That's how impressive she is. That's why she gets tired so easily, because she can multitask like that. She's actually got bars. And Philosopher's Stone, where she uses 5 elements to attack you, 5. She's reading 5 incantations all at once. She is just spitting. Absolutely spitting. Also, I seem to remember that I read somewhere that the library in the SDM was built after the fact for Patchy, and it didn't come with it. But I don't remember where I read that, or if that's like canon or not. So yeah, I'm just gonna put that out there. All right, and last one, the comment from Dai Touhou 10. Although it's a mystery why Reimu chose to break into the library first, she's a bookworm witch living in that library. You know, that's a good point. Why the fuck did every character barge through the front gates, beat Meiling up? They beat Meiling up, barged through the front entrance, and then decided, well, shit, I'm gonna enter through the basement window into the, into the library. Yeah, Eminem been real quiet since Philosopher's Stone draw. That's right. Thank you, chat. You write my material. Oh, wow. Timely music. A clear chart? What do you mean clear chart? This is Patchy's theme from, you know. Actually, I think you just saw all that, didn't you, chat? I can't tell. I don't know if you saw that or not. I don't have my OBS open. It's open. It's going, but I can't tell what it's actually recording properly anymore. Okay. Alright. Oh, Egg is still there. It's time to mix it up. Keep you on your toes. Yeah. There we go. Perfect. Okay. People have a chart of what Touhou games they've completed. 1CC's included. I've 1CC'd every game on normal mode. Mostly with Reimu. Pretty much only Reimu. Except Mountain of Faith, which is Marisa. And I have a 1CC on hard mode for every game except for UFO and, what do you call it? Hidden Star and Four Seasons. And I have a Lunatic 1CC on EOSD and PCB, but that's it. That's it. I have not played much. I haven't played Touhou in fucking months. I might get back into it, though. I might get back into it. I'm thinking about it. But I've been stuck between a rock and a hard place, because it's either play UFO hard or play IN Lunatic, and both of those are going to require effort and very frustrating. So I haven't really messed around with them, is all. I need to finish Violet Detector as well. Yeah. Anyway, where am I? I never thought about adding vertical stripes to her clothes, but in the majority of fan work, her dress was in vertical striped patterns. I guess she had 2 sets of clothes, one for outdoor, one for home. Now, I remember, chat. I remember I saw this before. About how Zun thinks that Patchy's EOSD art does not show vertical stripes to her clothes, and was surprised that that's what everybody saw. Now, I can't even pull up a picture. You know what? Maybe I will. Let me give you a picture of Batchy right now. Right here. You see that? You see that? How does that not vertical stripes? How the fuck is that not vertical stripes? They're folds? What? Huh? You can see folds. Look at her. Look at her chest. Look at her chest. You can see folds in her clothes. There's no way those deep purple lines are shadows or folds. Zoom, enhance, enhance, zoom, zoom, zoom. There's just no way. There's no way, dude. This is bullshit. Look at that. No, this is no way. That's vertical stripes. You can see the folds at the bottom. Yes, the horizontal folds. Oh my god. How is that not vertical stripes? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I don't buy it. Only person in the world. I feel like I didn't make her stance in EOSD very clear. Actually, she might have been the perpetrator who released the red mist that covered Gensokyo, as she's adept with any kinds of magic. Well, and just like that, we get sick lore. So, once again, Dai Touhou 10 coming in clutch. So, it's possible that Patchouli was the one who actually started the mist incident. Well, was the one behind the mist at all. To begin with, there is, she likes coordinating her attacks to the days of the week. And, you know, she has vitamin A deficiency, natural asthma, very strong magically. Why was the mist red anyways? Because it's Remy, dude. It's Remy. The game is called Scarlet, right? It's Scarlet Devil. She's the Scarlet Devil, so everything related to her has to be red in color. And if you've seen the names of Remy's spell cards, you know she's got a bit of a chuny streak. All right, next is Sakuya. Sakuya. Oh, Sakuya might have a bit actually, as she was a playable character. Oh, motherfucker. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh my god. Alright. Alright, here we go. Maid of the Scarlet Devil Mansion. Sakuya Izayoi. Ability time manipulation. 5th stage boss, plays the role of a human maid about 10 to 20 years old? What kind of range is that? What? There's no way. There's no way you put her range between 10 and 20, son. There's just no fucking way. 10 to 20? Why would you put the bar so low? Why would you not make it 18 or even 17? 10? There's just no way. There's just no way. Sakuya, it can be 10 years old. What the fuck? That's ridiculous. Okay. The power of her distances her from the human race. She has given up trying to be friendly to ordinary people. She does not care about honor or power. She thinks so long as it earns her dinner, being the Scarlet Devil Mansion's maid is fine. She is the chief of the Scarlet Devil Mansion's maids and cleaning staff, and always takes advantage of her ability to stop time when working. If she cleans when time is stopped, it won't raise dust. That's fucking genius, by the way. Due to the nature of the mistress of the house, it is arguable whether she serves the role of maid or babysitter, but in any case, she is in charge of most of the affairs of the household. Holy shit, alright, Zoom was not playing around with this Omake, huh? Alright, here we are. We have Sakuya, 10 years old, very strong, works at the Scarlet Devil Mansion because she just needs somewhere to eat. Arguably the babysitter of the house. There are so many aspects of this Omake that I can take out of context and just be like, fucking, you can just run with it. You can just run with it. 10 years old, she's literally just working for dinner, and she's a babysitter. And all of this is dubiously canon because I am misconstruing different elements of official text. You gotta eat when you gotta eat. Sakuya at 10 years old understands the importance of of her next meal as long as it earns her dinner. Babu Sakuya. Babu Sakuya. She's smaller than Remy, but still chewing her out. Alright. Alright, next one. Perfect Cherry Blossom. That was a good Omake. I like that one. Maid of the Scarlet Devil Mansion, Sakuya Izayoi. The elegant maid of a certain mansion, she possesses the ability to manipulate time. Sharp and able, she has no real weak points, but can't eat hot temperature foods. Huh. Didn't know that. I guess Sakuya has a cat tongue. Since she wants her knife throwing skills to be comparable to her cooking skills, Sakuya is incredibly good at cooking. Wait a minute. Are you telling me that Sakuya's knife throwing skills are incredible and she wants them to be as good as her cooking skills? So in order to make that the case, she became incredibly good at cooking? Hold on, I'm reading this backwards, I think. So I'm either reading this as she wants her knife throwing skills to be as good as her cooking skills, or she wants her cooking skills to be to match her knife throwing skills. Either way, that's funny. She's incredibly good at cooking, though. This is for sure. Her is currently addicted. I think that means that's supposed to be she. She's currently addicted to creating Chinese delicacies using expensive ingredients. Oh, I see Meiling's got Meiling's touches in there for PCB. In order to save money and... Get this line. In order to save money and the planet, she reuses knives she's already thrown. This is to save money and the planet. What a powerful line. If she were to run out of knives during a battle, she'd just stop time and pick them up again. Holy shit, Sakuya. She recycles. Throwing knives are her weapon. Deceitless sleight of hand is her specialty. In any case, she starts out with 4 bombs. It makes it easier to clear the game. Jack the Ripper locks onto enemies at certain angles in front of you. It has low power, but it is very easy to use weapon. On the other hand, all the time sign weapons have very unusual movement. Misdirection angles its shot in the direction you're moving. If you switch the power direction when it's angled, the shot direction will lock in its current position. The bombs, Perfect Square and Private Square, are both very weak, but they have the longest invincibility time in the game. Also, they are the only bombs that make you move faster when you use them. I didn't know that. The biggest distinguishing point is enemies' bullets stop during bombs, so the fact that you can graze them like this, plus the fact they become bonus items when the bomb is finished, and normal point items then get the bonus item value, means that the more you graze, the higher you will score with her weapons. This is correct. See Sakuya's lunatic PCB score run by Yusuke. There's a lot in here. There's a lot in here for Sakuya, huh? I just really like that line. In order to save the money and the planet, she reuses knives she's already thrown. Next is the Omake text for PCB. The maid of the Scarlet Devil Mansion, Izayoi Sakuya. Mainly, she possesses the ability to manipulate time. She is a maid who works at the Scarlet Devil Mansion on the banks of a lake in Gensokyo for no salary. They don't pay her? Wait a minute. Chad, they don't pay her. Sakuya doesn't get paid. Huh? She's kept quite busy in this mansion, cleaning, commanding the other maids, cooking, and taking care of her mistress for no salary. The mansion is unnecessarily large and has monotonous colors, so it's hard to tell things apart. Nobody would notice if an uninvited guest wandered inside and fell into a hole somewhere undiscovered. Nobody would know if they were discovered and gotten rid of either. Somehow, this Scarlet Building doesn't seem out of place surrounded by the green of Gensokyo. It simply stands there as if it were always meant to be there. Living here, even Sakuya feels as if time has stopped. Of course, that's not because Sakuya has stopped time. I can't believe this. She's babysitting, she's cleaning the house, she's 10 years old, and she's not getting paid? Someone... Who do I call? Who do I report Remy to? Who do I report Remy to? This has got to stop. This can't continue like this. This is from PCB, by the way. This is from 2003, so it's still continuing like this. Next is immaterial and missing power. But she recycles. She's such a good Samaritan. Maid of the Scarlet Devil Mansion, Izayoi Sakuya. Species, human. Location, Scarlet Devil Mansion. Ability to manipulate time. A maid who works and lives in the Scarlet Devil Mansion. She does a maid's duty perfectly. Cooking, cleaning, washing, babysitting, knife throwing, etc. Her position is chief maid, so she is canonically a good babysitter. Her personality seems perfect and elegant, but sometimes she shows a more spaced out side. The reason she works so quickly is probably because she stops time to do it, though. She also specializes in melee attacks. Probably even more so than at suspicious tricks like Danmaku. This is why she uses throwing knives in her Danmaku. In addition, she likes magic that doesn't have tricks to it, so she proactively adopts it into battle. I can't help but feel at this point is the odd axe. That's why she likes using card tricks, I imagine. That's why she has different attacks that are based around like not trading cards, fucking playing cards. All right, Imperishable Knight, Sakuya. A maid who serves a devil. She lives in the Scarlet Devil Mansion. She can manipulate time. She is the head maid of the Scarlet Devil Mansion, but due to her mistress's nature, she's practically head of the household. She is utterly devoted to her mistress, and she feels no shame in being a servant. On the contrary, she's so easygoing, it feels nice to watch her. Sometimes she's a little spacey, but it's hard to tell if she's serious or faking it. In either case, she's a fairly serious person. Her weapon is throwing knives. Since silver is hard to come by, she's looking for other materials to use too. Notes. So her weapons are made of silver. She's teamed up with Remilia this time. Only focus movement when she's alone. She has a very orthodox, straightforward shot, so she's easy to use. Recommended for people who must get every item. That's not me. Imperishable Knight, Omake. Maid of the Scarlet Devil Mansion, Sakuya Izayoi. There's a Scarlet Mansion on the banks of a certain lake in Gensokyo. So here's the thing, chat. So in the original EOST, it seemed to imply that the SDM was on an island in the middle of the lake. And as you know, that's not the case. So here, where it specifically states on the banks of a certain lake, so it's on the edge. It's on the edge of the lake. It's not in the middle. Not on an island. So the SDM, for some reason, is like... In EOSD only, the SDM is located on an island in the middle of the Misty Lake for no reason. And after EOSD, it just gets permanently moved off to a shoreline, away from the lake, but close to the lake, and it's never ever questioned ever again. I guess it was retcon. It's really weird. But the whole nature of EOSD, the SDM's location, is up in the air in EOSD, whereas it's solidified in later games. So it doesn't necessarily mean that it is on an island in EOSD, but there are things that point towards that. But then it immediately loses itself, and it's just like, oh, we're just on the side. Because I guess the idea is you go over the Misty Lake and you get to the island in the middle, right? It's weird. But of course the Atlas don't exist in PCB, so things get weird in the earlier games. Don't worry about it. When you're a maid, you don't have to worry about clothing, food, or housing. Even when you live in this deep in the mountains. She's human. When it says mountains, by the way, chat, it's referring to Gensokyo's location itself. Gensokyo is located deeper than the mountains itself. It's not talking about the SDM's location specific within Gensokyo, just specifying. She's human, but both humans and yokai don't look too well on her since she lives with devils. Still, some humans will overlook this, and she never has to worry about her living conditions. She can't imagine a life better than this. I guess I didn't realize that mentioning that she goes without pay was bad, and now she enjoys her life as a maid. Alright. PRFE. Perfect and elegant maid. A maid who serves a devil. She's a human who lives in the Scarlet Devil Mansion. She possesses the ability to the extent of manipulating time. Though her character is refined, sometimes she acts like she's being careless or just spacing out. She doesn't think the flower incident is anything terribly dangerous. This is another thing. So as some of you know, Sakuya's characterization in the written works makes her look a little more soft-hearted towards others. But based on the Omake text, it seems likely that Sakuya's nature, she actually is just kind of like this. She's very proficient at her job, but she's also a little bit scatterbrained and out there. So, like, when she goes and helps Remy and she's got, like, a big goofy smile on her face, it's just Sakuya. All of that is Sakuya because of the nature of her character. Which, when you put that all together, you get one complete interesting character. Also, I never noticed that there are Roman numerals on her apron in POFE. Did you? Huh. Yeah, chat, look at this. Look at this. I did not know that the Roman numerals for 1 to 12 were located on her her apron, but only in POFE. Only in POFE. They're immediately gone in the next game. Wonder what that's about. Okay. No, they're gone next game, which is DDC for her, for Zunart, official Zunart. Crazy. She definitely looks 10 here. Oh, come on, that's just Zunart. Where am I? There's a Scarlet Mansion on the edge of the lake of Gensokyo. There's again a maid working there. She heard something was going on, so she thought she'd go have a look. She didn't particularly think something dangerous was happening. This is why nobody in the Scarlet Temple Mansion was particularly upset about the flower incident. That's why she's the only character in the game she's the only character from the SDM who shows up in Phantasmagoria. Because she's the only one who seemed like who was a little bit worried about it, I guess, just to take a look at it. Alright. Next is SWR. Race, human, occupation, maid, place of residence, Scarlet Temple Mansion, ability, manipulating time, personality. Elegant, knowledgeable, and refined. However, can be surprisingly careless from time to time. So there you go. So I think a lot of people don't realize that. I actually got a comment before about Sakuya's personality, how the Omake mentions she's a bit scatterbrained. And the thing is, like, they also mentioned a few examples about different times where Sakuya says something that seems like sarcastic in nature, but it might actually just be like, you know, her careless nature coming into play. Where she might actually mean it. Like, remember when she in Uncontacted Marketeers, where she makes a comment about oxygen? So you could take that comment as her being snarky, but you could also take that comment as her like having like a genuine moment there and just being like, like, you know, just forgetting that kind of thing. That's kind of nice. It's pretty adorable. All right, she's got a Bogetsu one. Sakuya, human ability to manipulate time, the only human who lives in the Scarlet Temple Mansion. She serves as the head maid, managing the many fairy maids. Incidentally, the maids are not paid in wages or awarded any days off. Instead, they are compensated with freedom, meals, and black tea. Well, there you go, chat. There you go. They're not paid in wages, they're not given days off, but they're given food, shelter, and freedom. Freedom, meals, and black tea. She possesses the ability to manipulate time and enjoys a deep bond of trust with Remilia. That said, the question of why Sakuya, a human, works at the Scarlet Temple Mansion is a riddle wrapped in mystery. And then all the way to double dealing character, where Sakuya started wearing stockings, much to my what's the word here? What's the word? What's the opposite of dismay? Anyway, back to the match. Maid of the Devil, Sakuya Izayoi. Species human. Ability capable of manipulating time. The human head maid that lives in the Scarlet Devil Mansion. Recently, she has obtained knives that will aim toward enemies by themselves. Since this was much easier than throwing them herself, they're quite enjoyable. Not long afterwards, rumors surfaced that yokai were acting rowdy at the Misty Lake near the Scarlet Devil Mansion. Sakuya goes to fight to try out her new knives. That's it, huh? That's it? Okay. I mean, that gets her in the game, I suppose, but that's pretty basic. And then Unconnected Marketeers, Elegant Maid, Sakuya. Works as the head maid of the Scarlet Devil Mansion. Her cool demeanor makes it hard to tell, but she's actually a bit of an airhead. Mysterious cards were circulating in the streets. Lady Patchouli gained an extreme interest in these cards and ordered her to collect every last one of them. The cards certainly were intriguing. Apparently, some of them even contained her mistress's magic power. However, her mistress was as fit as a fiddle. Just what exactly could this mean? Okay. Alright. Well, she was... Sakuya acts an for under Patchy's request, it seems. And then we have the Touhou. Among humans who are already short in numbers, she's an extraordinary human maid with a special personality and ability. The reason she uses knives is probably just out of fashion, and since it's about fashion, she certainly won't mind dropping a road roller on top of someone's head. This is an official, real, unedited comment from Zun. That is real. What I just read was 100% real. I did not make that up. That is there. I swear to fuck, that is there. She does hang out with other humans quite often, but other humans mostly see her as a demon servant. While she does act like one from time to time, this kind of personality makes her like a deuteragonist to some extent. Deuteragonist. What a word. And that's all of Sakuya. So... this is a hard one. This is a hard one. I think... she's obviously here. But I don't think there was universe lore. There's not really universe lore. Here's the thing. The only bit in there that could be construed as universe lore is the mention that the SDM is on the edge of the lake. Which... that's not really universe lore. Like, at all. But there is so much there for Sakuya's... actually, you know what? No, I take that back. I take that back. Yeah, I just remembered. The universe lore was with the fairy maids. The maid labor. So there is universe lore there. So there's a little bit of both in there. There's no one's in that, no one's in the cool universe lore yet. The SDM had more than Alice's house for sure, yeah. I forgot about the fairy maid stuff. But there you go. Sakuya gets, yeah, the EOSD privilege. Alright, next is Wemi. Remilia. How many do you got, Remilia? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright. The eternally young Scarlet Moon, Remilia Scarlet. The ability to manipulate fate. The final boss. She's been the mistress for about 500 years. She doesn't tell you directly and only hint during the game, but she is a vampire. She blanketed against Sakuya with a magic mist in order to cut off the sunlight. Although she has been alive for 500 years, her personality is that of a selfish child. She is respected by most yokai, but her charisma doesn't stem from her personality. Rather, it comes from the fear that they have for her kind. She has one younger sister. Nothing else is known about her family. Her charisma doesn't stem from her personality, it stems from the fear others have towards vampires. Oh. She is a light eater. In other words, she can only drink a little blood at a time and must leave the rest behind. So the humans off of whom she feeds become a bit anemic, but usually stay alive. Oh, you hear that? Remy doesn't kill. She's a light eater, so she only drinks her fill, but you survive the encounter. I'm sure somebody wanted to hear this information. Due to that fact, she always fails to increase the number of her kind. She often spills more blood than she consumes. The spilled blood dyes her dress as deep scarlet, which is what gives rise to her title, the Scarlet Devil. Oh, that's interesting lore. So because she doesn't finish off humans by biting them, they don't turn into more vampires, but also there's still blood in them, so they bleed out everywhere, and then she drips on her dress, and that's why she's called the Scarlet Devil. She's called the Scarlet Devil because she can't wipe her fucking mouth. Yeah, it's because she's a messy eater. That's where she got that cool-ass title. Unbelievable. She swears that she is a descendant of Tepes, but nobody is certain whether she is truly related to the Vlad Dracula Tepes. Well, in fact, she is not. Total of 10 card attacks. You hear that? Straight from the Omake itself. She is not related to Vlad Dracula Tepes. She is not. But she tells everybody she is. That's lore. Next, we have immaterial missing power. The eternally young Scarlet Moon, Remilia Scarlet. Species vampire. Location Scarlet Devil Mansion. Abilities manipulation of fate. Master of the Scarlet Devil Mansion. She looks young, but she's actually a vampire who's over 500 years old. Weak against sunlight. She has to take a parasol if she wants to go out in the daytime. Her personality is somewhat childish, and she's got maids who are basically at her beck and call, so she can be as egotistical as she wants. She's immensely powerful, so she can really kick up a fuss. Faster than the eye can follow, strong enough to crush boulders. She's powerful enough to manipulate demons. She's so strong it's almost not fair, so she doesn't care much for subtle technique. She may be weak against sunlight, but she has a pretty strong constitution. So as long as some bit of her still remains, say a little bat, she can regenerate at any time. She's dreadful to have as an enemy, but she's not exactly the sort of person you'd want as a friend either. Holy shit. Immaterial and missing power is Omake, just straight up called Remy OP. She's like Cell. She's actually like Cell. Straight up. If she has even a single bit of her remaining, she can regenerate her body. Just like Cell. That is literally what Cell does. And she's faster than the eye can follow. She's strong enough to crush boulders, and she's powerful enough to manipulate demons. She's fucking jacked, dude. Remilia she's jacked. That explains why in the fighting game she's just kind of hopping around like a kid on sugar. She reminds me of Taukaka. She's very, very mobile, and she also hits like a fucking bus. But she goes all over the screen. Don't fuck with this vampire. There's only two of them, remember. Her and her sister. Next is Imperishable Knight, the Scarlet Devil, Remilia Scarlet. A vampire who resides in the Scarlet Devil Mansion. She can manipulate fate. She has apparently lived for over 500 years. Considering how long she has lived, she acts rather childishly. Wow, they love to poke that part, don't they? Creatures of her kind forfeit their growth and maturity in exchange for eternal life. In other words, she can live forever because she never grows up. Wow, I did not know that. Alright, well, that's some pretty interesting lore that I've never heard before. Forfeit their growth and maturity in exchange for eternal life. So does that mean Remy and Flandre are immortals? Are they immortal? Well, I mean, they're not immortal. They can be killed. They can definitely be killed. But they have eternal life, so they will never die of age, but they can be killed. Standard vampire lore. I guess, yeah, but they can live forever because they never grow up. I see. That makes a lot of sense. They just can't die of age. Immortals come back when they are killed. But in the vampire's case, she can regenerate, but not, like, from nothing. It goes without saying that she is weak against sunlight, can't cross flowing water, hates garlic, and despises sardine heads. Crosses have no effect on her. It puzzles her to hear that her kind are supposed to be weak against such a thing. Huh. So hear that? Remy is weak to all the basics, including sardine heads, which are actually more related to Onis. Putting out sardine heads was supposed to make Onis, like, not come to your house. But as we know, vampires are considered Onis in this sense because the name is like blood-sucking Oni. So Remy shares a lot of similarities to Oni in her likes and dislikes, like Setsuban as well. But the cross bit is interesting. The cross thing is interesting. She just thinks it's chic. She uses bats and arrows as her weapons. She can spawn an unlimited number of bats from herself. Really? Note, she teams up with Sakuya this time. Normal speed only applies when she uses a solo character. Her familiar remains in place once set and continues to attack from that position. Used properly, it's quite effective against both bosses and their weakling subordinates. Good for those who believe that memorization of the enemy's appearance position is the basis of shooting games. Yes. Bleh! It's yuck. She says yuck. Remy yuck. Imperishable Knight, Scarlet Devil. In the middle of a lake. See right here? In the middle of a lake in Gensokyo, there is a Scarlet Mansion. What? This is the same game that just said that the lake was on the bank. The mansion was on the bank. And now in Remy's text, it's in the middle of the lake? That doesn't make any sense. Where the fuck is this mansion? Are you telling me Remy has a summer home? That's gotta be it. That's gotta be it. Remy has a summer home. No. The Misty Lake is circular. It's a big circle that only connects to, like, the Gembu Ravine. Remy lives on the bank, and in the summertime, she goes to her island home. Or it moves. You know, when you think about it, how did the STM even get to Gensokyo in the first place, right? Maybe they just move it. No, but in the middle of the lake would imply in the middle of the lake. Which, as I said in EOSD, it's like, you know, it's like there on an island in the middle of it, right? They move. That's the thing. That's what I was talking about earlier. Like in EOSD, it's implied that the mansion is on the middle of the lake on an island, and then everything after EOSD is like, no, it's on the shoreline. It's on the shoreline. But this is Imperishable Knights Omake saying that in the middle of the lake, in the middle of a lake in Gensokyo, there is a Scarlet Mansion. So that means, since this is Tall 8 I'm talking about here, it's inconsistent. It doesn't make sense. And the only thing I can think of to explain it is, one, there are 2 SDMs, or 2, Remy just likes moving the shit wherever she wants, and she has 2 preferred spots, on the edge of the lake or in the middle. Oh, it's so confusing. It's so confusing. But I've never heard of an island in the middle of the lake, right? Never. Any picture, anything you see of the Misty Lake, it's one big old basin of water. There's no land in the middle of it. That's so confusing. It's so confusing. Anyway, she's the mistress of that mansion. She's very childish, even though she's been alive for more than 500 years. Devils, including vampires, are hated with a passion by both humans and yokai, because their kind tend to be self-centered and selfish. Remilia, indeed, is no exception. Type B blood tastes the most delicious to her. You hear that, chat? Are you type A, B, or O? If you're type B, you got this. If you don't, well, there's always Flandre. We'll see what she has to say. Bogetsu so. I don't know my blood type, to be honest with you. Remilia Scarlet, vampire, ability to manipulate fate. Master of the Scarlet Devil Mansion, a European-style building located by the shore of a lake. You see what I mean? By the shore of a lake. Whoa! She looks like a young girl, but in fact she's a vampire who has lived more than 500 years. Her personality and behavior are as childlike as her appearance, though. She takes pride in her tremendous physical abilities as a vampire, and additionally she has the ability to manipulate fate. It appears that any person nearby her will have an unfortunate fate, even if Remilia herself is unaware of them. Huh. Damn, that's kind of unfortunate. The art they used to show her is not flattering in the slightest. Look at this. This is the art they used, the screenshot they used. This is the screenshot they used for for Bogetsu. She looks like you just like bumped shoulders with her and then insulted her. And now she's just turning around. She's like, huh? Do not bumpy. Okay. Scarlet with a Rhapsody. Race, vampire. Occupation, mistress. Place of residence, SDM. Ability, manipulation of fate. Personality, acts superior and is superior. Yet a child who hasn't grown out of being childish. Interesting. I took a picture of her eating. No, this is a picture of Remy of eating. This is a picture of Remy eating. that's that one. Whoops. Give me that. Yes. Cool universe lore. Perfect. Perfect. Alright, one more. Dai Touhou Plague. Vampire as the last boss is one of the best tropes in video games. No way this suddenly won't work in a bullet hell. That's what I thought when I started making the game. Now I think of it that superhuman toughness and vampiric ability are only suited for role-playing games. Making bullet patterns for vampires ended up very difficult. I assigned the badass role to Sakuya, the human character, then let Remilia take the role of a selfish noble princess. I soon realized that this had made Remilia no different than an average human, so I gave her a huge pair of bat wings to compensate. But the more I looked at it, the more I felt like it felt like Bahamut from Final Fantasy. Lol. Huge bat wings. Absolutely massive. They're actually pretty small in her USD art compared to others. She looks like Bahamut, I guess. Alright. So, where do I put this? Now here's the thing. Chat. If I want to put this in character lore and universe lore, but the only reason I can like say that is because of the imperishable knight Omake. So I'm actually only gonna put her in sick character lore because you get a lot of information about Remilia herself, but the only thing about her mansion or her past or anything like that is the mention that the mansion is on an island in the middle of the lake. But the only reason I could put it higher is because of my own stupid theories on why the inconsistencies on the location of the mansion exist. So, as for that reason, I'm putting her under sick character lore and not sick character lore and universe pog. Alright? Because Sakuya had more nods to that, but she also had other nods to the working conditions of the SDM. Whereas Remy, it's all about her personality and her strengths. There's very little about anything else to her character. We learned she isn't related to Dracula. Well, I mean... I guess, but... I don't know, I wouldn't call that universe lore, you know? Alright, Flandre Scarlet. Flander takes you to Flandre's page, just so you know. Redirected from Flandre Scarlet. You're serious. Flandre Scarlet redirects to Flandre Scarlet, which means there is a web page dedicated to fucking up Flandre's name and calling her Flandre. She has two, by the way. Unsurprisingly. Flandre Scarlet, yeah. Sister of the Devil. What a lame title that is, huh? Flandre Scarlet. Like, I feel like given Flandre's nature, she could have had a way cooler, what do you call it? Like, title than Sister of the Devil. I'm not gonna sit here and make my own because they're gonna be edgy sounding for sure. That's not a sick title. What are you talking about? Her sister's title is the Scarlet Devil, and then her title is just Sister of the Devil. I don't know what her shoot the bullet title is, but that's what she gets called by Aya. Aya has a lot of different names for people. I mean, she's basically the Palm of Destruction. The Lost Devil? Hidden Devil would have been cool. I don't know. I just think Sister of the Devil is kind of lame when you think about, like, other titles. It's accurate, but at the same time, it feels like it could have done more. What's her title in 17.5? Secret Devil Sister? That sounds a little bit better. Scarlet Meteor Crusher. That's cool. That's cool. This is not ideal when your title is about someone else. That's what I agree with, yeah. I feel like it takes away from her as a character. Anyway, Flandre Scarlet. Ability, destroying absolutely anything. That's her ability. The extra boss, also the mistress's younger sister. She's a vampiric magical girl. Oh, Celestial Destroyer. That's just so cool. A vampiric magical girl who has been the Scarlet Devil's younger sister for about 495 years. So, it is accurate to assume that Flandre is 5 years younger than Remilia. Now, maybe not 5 years exactly, but there is at minimum a 5-year gap between the two characters, which really isn't that much when you think about it. Well, remember her stage theme, right? Her stage theme is the Centennial Festival for Magical Girls. So, yeah, she's a magical girl. She cannot control herself, so generally she isn't let outside. She also doesn't try going out. So, this is information that was actually shown off in CDS, where Flandre shows up and she mentions how she has no desire to go outside because all of her needs are met within the mansion anyway. And turns out the Omake text right there the whole time also showed the exact same thing. She cannot control her powers. She's not let outside very often, but she also doesn't try to go out herself. So she has never once really... The way that she was shown off in CDS has been accurate to her Omake all these years. Damn. She idolizes her older sister, Remilia, but her destructive power unconstrained far exceeds that of her sisters. Although she doesn't often get angry or anything, she's always peculiar, which makes it difficult for others to understand her. Generally, vampires also attack humans without killing them in order to feed, but Flandre has only ever eaten food that has been served to her, so she doesn't know how to properly attack a human. Because of this, she can't limit herself and ends up blowing them away without leaving a drop of blood. So yeah, I actually knew this as well. So Flandre, because of her, her more reclusive nature, she's never actually like been in a real encounter with a person, and all of her meals are pre-made. So instead of like where Remy takes just enough blood to satisfy her and then leaves her victims away, Flandre just fucking crushes you. Just palm crushes you. She crumbles you into dust, and she doesn't actually get to eat anything. Blows them away without leaving a drop of blood. The fact that you don't leave a drop of blood means your entire existence is evaporated. All of the liquid inside your body is evaporated. You actually get father-son Kamehameha. As Remy is Cell, and Flandre is Gohan. Flandre has the father-son Kamehameha that can literally eviscerate every individual cell of your makeup and completely eradicate you from the universe. Speaking of which, she doesn't even know that what she always eats were once living humans. Her daily meals are made to look like foodstuffs such as cake and tea, after all. That's disgusting. That's disgusting. Sakuya makes her meals, right? So Flandre's meals consist of humans, but they're dressed up like cake and tea. Holy Jesus, dude, that is gross. That is nasty. No, I knew this, by the way. I knew this. Flandre is one of those characters I actually knew quite a bit about. I didn't realize it all came from the Omake text, though. But yeah, all of her meals are pre-served, and they eat humans. We knew they eat humans. Yukari is also mentioned to eat humans as well. It's just not an aspect that's ever explored too deeply in canon. As to where they get the humans, don't ask. But yeah, as we see, like, they are still devils. They are still vampires. Despite the cutesy exterior of the universe, they are still what they are, right? Sakuya's fine. Total of 10 card attacks. And then we have Zun's comments. Remilia's little sister, destructive personality with destructive power, the troublemaker of EOSD. She appeared very few times, but she's mysteriously popular among younger fans. I gave Remilia bat wings to make her look like a vampire. Then by contradicting the bat wings logic, I gave her sister wings with unknown shapes that don't make her look like a vampire. I felt Touhou from this contrarian design, and I felt even more when I brought Nue-like yokai back to Gensokyo. That made me realize how Flandre's design was connected to Touhou's grand scheme later on. So Flandre, there's no explanation as to why Flandre's wings are like that, aside from what Zun's saying here, where he literally just made her wings to be as not vampire-like as possible in his mind to contrast Remilia. But the wings are cool. Anyway, that's all you get for Remilia, and I'm going to put her in sick character lore because that's actually a decent amount of stuff for her. So who's left? Who's left? Oh my god. Whew. We effectively got through one game, by the way. Yeah, I'm gonna stop here for the day. It'll save my progress. It'll save my progress. So far, okay, so far, chat, we have tackled basically Touhou 3, the protagonists, and Touhou 6. And that took 3 hours. 3 hours for all that. Now, granted, Reimu and Marisa had, like, they had at least, like, 20 entries themselves alone. So some characters will be shorter, but I also like talking just in general about the different characters. So I guess as a closing note for this right now, learned a lot. So let's go over it a little bit. So as we know, Reimu, you know, carefree, sentimental, doesn't really get along well with humans or yokai, treats them equally, but also more strict to yokai because of the nature of her profession. She's very lazy and unmotivated, and, you know, she doesn't like training, but she's quite strong due to her natural talents. Marisa is a very hard worker, often a nuisance to those around her, and, you know, she's very curious, a very curious sort, and her curiosity is what drives her to pursue incidents, just like all the, like Reimu. She also has a little bit of a jealousy, an inferiority complex to Reimu as well, to Reimu's natural-born talents. This also applies to PC98 Marisa, and of course, PC98 Reimu is just, you know, she's an optimist, I guess. Chiiri and Umami are cool because it explains the way their universe of their outside world works, and the fact that they're all, their universe also, like, younger in general. Chiiri's only 15 years old, and she's a college graduate at the age of 11. Umami is 19, I believe she's 19. She's 18 at the least, and she's a college professor studying magic to fit the grand unified theory that exists and is solved in her world. Alice is neat because, you know, Alice is a character, we learn that she's a character who doesn't really try, she doesn't put the extent of all of her power at full display. She instead uses only enough that is enough to best her opponent, but only within a slim margin. And this is mostly because she's afraid that if she went all out and lost, she wouldn't know what to do with herself. She's also very reclusive, and I wouldn't say she prefers to be alone in her house, but her house, you know, she's one with solitude. Her house is kind of creepy because it's full of dolls, and it scares rare visitors away. But she's definitely not as outgoing as Marisa. Chirbo is Chirbo, you know. She kills frogs in her pastime because she's, well, I don't know. But she's also, you know, she's a fairy that's a little more rambunctious than the others. She's got a unique ability. She doesn't really learn her lessons from pranks like other fairies do, so she's constantly getting herself into shit. And then, you know, Zun apologizes for calling her a dum-dum. Patchouli, as we learn, she's the 7-week magician. She likes her magic. I mentioned her incantations are all recited by mouth while she does her spell cards. She likes to sync up her magic to the days of the week. It's a secret hobby of hers. She's very interested in knowledge and stuff. She's over 100 years old. She's friends with Remy to some extent. Well, she's very good friends with Remy and lives in the sunlightless library in the SDM mansion of the basement. She also is vitamin A lacking. And then we have Sakuya, who is very elegant, very refined, very careless. Anywhere between the age of 10 to 20, is not paid in wages, is okay with her working conditions as long as she makes, you know, as long as she can get dinner. And she's regarded as a bit of a babysitter due to her master's personality. That's kind of funny. I wasn't expecting all that for Sakuya. And then for sick character lore, I really like the idea of Yuka traveling around Gensokyo based on the season to just kind of enjoy seasonal flowers. That's something I didn't know about her, and I think that's really neat. Ellen's story is kind of depressing. It's like extremely depressing, honestly. It was very depressing. How she's like basically eternal, but her memories keep slipping out until all that's left is her like childlike demeanor. So she's very childish because all of the memories that she like gets just kind of disappear over time. It's really depressing. So I kind of feel bad for her. That was more than I was expecting. And then Rikako. Rikako is a science nut who really likes science. However, she's actually quite adept at magic and very powerful. But she willingly chooses not to use it as much as she can possibly manage. So even though she has powerful magic at her disposal, she still flies with a jetpack. Crazy. Rumia, as you know, she's a character, a yokai of darkness, a very menacing sounding power. And I'm sure you've seen fan art. There's also the fact that her hair ribbon is an ofuda. It's a charm that's tied on her head that she cannot remove herself, even though she has tried to before in the past. Nobody knows why it's there, what it does, or what it's really sealing, but the fact remains that it is on her head preventing something or other. Which, if you think about the sound of like her title and her abilities, is probably holding back something crazy, which is very popular fan theory anyway. EX Rumia. And of course we have Remilia. Remilia, very strong, very fast, vampire, very prideful, high charisma, but she's also very childish. Not much in there about Remilia that I didn't already know. Also, she's not related to Dracula. Just not. And then we have Flandre, who cannot control her powers. Her raw destructive abilities outpace her sister's, but she cannot control it as well as her sister can, obviously. She's not let out of the house very often, but she doesn't make much of an effort to do so either. She doesn't know how to handle dealing with a human. Oh, that reminds me, yeah. So Remy also is a light eater, and she got her title. Remy got her title as Scarlet Devil by just leaving a mess on her dress because she doesn't finish her meals properly. Flandre, on the other hand, pulps all of her targets until they're reduced to nothing. Literally nothing. And she is unaware that the food she eats is even humans at all because they're dressed up in a more acceptable manner, like cake and tea. Then we have Cool Universe lore, where Remy is eating with her spaghetti and it's getting all over her face because, as we've already established, she's a very messy eater. And then neat, I guess, we got, PC98 Reimu. She's an optimist. Genji, who was apparently captured by Reimu and then worked hard by Reimu, Pokemon style. We got Yuka, Yokai Moe. Kotohime, who is like a kleptomaniac who collects weird shit. Kana, who is just kind of depressing, who was haunting a mansion, a Western-style mansion, until the owner was just like, yeah, whatever. So Kana left to pursue new things. Meiling, who's just a gatekeeper who doesn't really do much. She hasn't, there was very little about her considering every other character in EOSD has something up there, and then Meiling is just like, I wish Meiling there was more stuff. And then we have, please, and more characterization, please. And that is Mima, because Mima is Mima, and she's been in the PC98 characters, and she has like 2 Omake texts. They're just like, she was evil, but she got over it, I guess, and now she just fucks with Reimu. Like, come on, I need more than that. And then we have Nazareth in an egg costume. I need more of this character. And there you go. There you go, chat. That is current pace. It's been 3 hours, and we still have almost all of PCB. There's no Alice in there, but there's 3 Prism Rivers. All right, 3 Prism Rivers. And then we also have, we don't have Yuka in Touhou 9, so there's only going to be 4 characters from Touhou 9. But depending on how long some of these are, I might be able to finish this in 1 more part, or 2. And we'll see how the time goes. We will. But honestly, I'm really enjoying this. I'm really enjoying this, and I'm actually learning about the characters myself. I hope I retain this information. Because a lot of this was actually quite interesting to characters themselves. And it's better for information retention as well, to break it up into smaller bits like this. So, yeah. I'll do more of this next Saturday, and we'll continue. It'll save my progress, don't worry. It'll save my progress, and I will continue with PCB, and we'll see more stuff further in there for more lore.